Good morning, my dear friend. As the first light breaks across the sky and the world is still wrapped in the hush of early dawn, I want to invite you into a moment that matters. This hour, this quiet breath before the noise of the day begins, is sacred. It is not just the start of another morning, is the meeting place between your soul and the one who gave it life, while the earth stirs softly beneath a canopy of pastel light. Something inside you is stirring too. Maybe it is longing. Maybe it is weariness. Maybe it is just the faint hope that something more is waiting for you. Perhaps you woke up today with a weight you cannot name. The ache of a strained relationship. The memory of someone who is no longer here. The dread of another uncertain step forward. I know there are mornings when the sun rises, but your heart does not. I have seen people sit at the edge of their bed in silence, battling invisible storms, forcing themselves to smile when their soul feels fractured. Maybe that is you today. Maybe you are not even sure why you pressed play, but here you are, hoping for something real, something steady, something healing. There was once a woman I knew who used to rise every morning before the world around her. She would quietly boil water for tea in a dark kitchen while the stars still lingered. No one knew the battle she carried inside. Her husband had left. Her finances were broken. Her prayers felt unanswered. But every morning, she whispered a soft thank you, not because everything was okay, but because she believed that if she kept showing up with honesty, with trembling faith, with open hands, something would eventually shift, and it did. Not overnight, not in the way she expected, but in the silent offering of her daily thankfulness, her soul began to breathe again. You may not see your way through yet. You may not have the strength to shout your prayers or sing your faith out loud. But I promise you this, your whisper matters. Your breath still carries weight in the kingdom of heaven. And this moment right now, when the day is still young and your spirit is still tender, is the perfect time to begin again. This is not just another morning. This is a sacred pause, a quiet turning point. And this journey you are about to step into it is more than words. It is a conversation with the divine. It is the unwrapping of your burdens, the invitation to healing, and the bold decision to live with a heart that dares to thank God not after the storm, but in the middle of it. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to speak when your voice shakes. Prayer is not a performance. It is a returning, a coming home. And thankfulness, when spoken from the raw and real places of your life, becomes a doorway to peace you cannot explain. So take a breath, wherever you are, in a quiet room, in a parked car, in the stillness of your heart. Pause with me. You are not alone. You are not unseen, and you are not too far gone to be met by grace. Let your soul settle. Let your heart soften. This is your moment to draw near. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning, as the light stretches gently across the horizon and the world begins to wake, I come before you with a soul that feels worn and tired. I will not pretend to be stronger than I am. I will not pretend to feel things I do not feel. I am here because I need you, because the H inside me has grown too loud to ignore, and because silence is no longer enough to carry what my heart is holding. I do not come with answers. I do not come with clarity. I come with empty hands, trembling with the weight of things I cannot fix, cannot understand, and cannot carry alone. There is a deep place in me that longs for something more than survival. I am not here to impress you. I am not here to perform. I am here because I do not know how to take the next step without your presence beside me. There are mornings when the world outside looks beautiful, but the world inside feels like a valley of dry bones. Today is one of those mornings. I woke up with heaviness before my feet touched the ground. I felt the familiar sting of disappointment before I opened my eyes. I carried the quiet H of things left unsaid, things undone, and things that have unraveled without my permission. I feel distant from joy. I feel separated from peace. I feel like I am watching my life from the outside, unable to step back into it with confidence or certainty. And yet, even with all that, I choose to open my heart to you. I choose to let these fragile words rise because somewhere deep inside I still believe you are listening. Somewhere deep inside I still believe you are near. I am not looking for perfection. I am not asking for all the answers. I am asking for something simple but sacred. I am asking you to meet me in this valley. I am asking you to come close to the places I have tried to hide. I am asking you to remind me that my emptiness is not a barrier to you. It is an invitation. It is the very reason I need you. So here I am, in the early hours of a new day, with my soul stretched thin and my heart still trying to find its rhythm. I lay it all down before you without filters or explanations. I know you see beyond the words. I know you understand the language of my silence, the meaning of my tears, the story written in my pauses. There are questions that keep circling in my mind. Why now? Why this? Why again? I try to quiet them, but they come anyway. I try to hold them back, but they slip through the cracks. And maybe you are not asking me to silence the questions. Maybe you are just asking me to bring them to you. Maybe you are asking me to sit with you in the middle of the uncertainty and let your presence do what answers cannot. I do not need you to explain everything. I just need you to stay. I just need to know that in this place of deep weariness, I am not forgotten. I need to know that my pain is not invisible to you. There are pieces of me that feel broken beyond repair. There are dreams that seem too far gone to ever breathe again. There are parts of my story that feel too heavy to redeem. And yet, I have heard that you are the God who restores what was lost. I have heard that you bring life to places that look like they have been buried. I have heard that you breathe on dry bones and make them stand again. So even though I feel like I have nothing left to offer, I place what I do have in your hands. My honesty, my wariness, my desire to believe even when belief feels far away. I give it all to you. I do not expect a flood of joy to sweep me away right now. I do not expect every shadow to disappear, but I do expect you. I expect your faithfulness. I expect your nearness. Not because I have earned it, but because you are who you say you are. because you do not require perfection to draw near, because you are not repelled by my pain, you are drawn to it. And so, I whisper this prayer not as someone who has it all together, but as someone who is holding on by a thread and hoping that thread leads to you. I am tired of pretending to be okay. I am tired of answering every question with a smile when my heart is sinking. I am tired of performing strength when what I really need is mercy. I am not asking for a miracle to erase everything. I am asking for the courage to face it with you. I am asking for the grace to take one more breath, to stand when I feel like falling, to choose hope when fear is screaming louder. I am asking you to come into this valley and walk with me through it. I do not want to walk it alone. I believe that you are not only the God of the mountaintop, but the God of the valley too. I believe you are near to the brokenhearted, that you comfort those who mourn, that you light candles in the darkest places. I believe that even now, as I speak these words, you are already moving toward me. You are already wrapping your presence around this room, this heart, this life. You are already doing what I cannot see. And that is enough for now. I do not need all the answers. I just need you to stay. So I wait, not with the kind of waiting that demands or controls, but with the kind of waiting that trusts. I wait for your whisper. I wait for your touch. I wait for the first signs of healing to rise from the soil of this broken place. And as I wait, I will try to breathe. I will try to believe. I will try to rest in the truth that you are here, not because I feel it perfectly, but because you promised, and you do not break promises. My heart is not whole yet, but it is open. My life is not fixed, but it is yours. My soul is not loud, but it is still speaking. And in this quiet morning, in the rawness of my truth, I come to you with all I am. This is my beginning place. This is my valley, but I am not standing in it alone. You are with me, and that is more than enough. Lord, I am still here. And though I woke again with the same heaviness, though the H has not disappeared overnight, something in me has shifted. It is small, barely noticeable, but it is there. A whisper, a flicker, a thought that maybe, just maybe, there is space for something else besides pain. I am not healed yet. I am not free yet. But I am willing to let the silence break with a single word. Thank you. Not because I feel better, not because I suddenly understand, but because I need to say it, because my soul cannot live only on sorrow, because even in the darkness, even in the fog, even in the numbness, there must still be reasons to lift my eyes. I do not know how to be grateful right now. Everything in me wants to wait until things change before I say anything that resembles praise. But I sense you pulling me gently, not forcing me to pretend, not pushing me to perform, but inviting me to try to find something, anything that is still good. So I search, and I find that I am still breathing. I find that I still woke up this morning. I find that there is air in my lungs, warmth in my body, and a sky above me that holds the promise of a new day. These may seem small, but today, they are my offering. They are what I have, and I bring them to you not with confidence, but with open hands. This is not loud gratitude. It is not triumphant. It is fragile, but it is real. God, I do not want to fake my thankfulness. I do not want to string together polite words, because I think that is what you want to hear. I want my thanks to mean something. I want it to rise from a place that is honest, even if that place is bruised. So I will begin here. Thank you for this quiet moment. Thank you for not turning away when I hesitate. Thank you for meeting me in a place I did not expect to find you, in the stillness, in the mess, in the soft corners of a morning I almost ignored. I know this is only the beginning, but beginnings matter, and I want mine to begin with thanks. I think about how often I wait until everything is fixed to say thank you. I wait for the breakthrough. I wait for the healing. I wait for the moment that feels good. But what if the power of gratitude is not in the after, but in the during? What if thankfulness is not just a response, but a foundation? What if it is not a celebration of what has been restored, but a declaration that I still believe restoration is possible? If that is true, then my whispered thank you is not small. It is sacred. It is the seed of faith being planted in ground that still feels hard and dry. And I trust that you are the one who sends the rain. I will not rush past this. I will not pretend that one moment of gratitude will erase all of the struggle. But I will let it in. I will let it soften the edges of my fear. I will let it remind me that even in sorrow, there is beauty. Even in confusion, there is kindness. Even in grief, there is breath. And every breath is a gift. I do not want to become numb to gifts I used to cherish. I do not want pain to steal my ability to see what is still worth holding close. So I choose to see. I choose to notice. I choose to give thanks not because everything is good, but because not everything is lost. Lord, there are moments when thankfulness feels like a foreign language. My mind rebels. My emotions push back. But something deeper in me knows is the way forward. I am learning that gratitude does not ignore reality. It holds it gently. It acknowledges the pain but refuses to let it be the only voice in the room. Gratitude does not silence the storm, but it steadies my spirit in the middle of it. It helps me lift my head just enough to see that you are still here. You have not left. You are not waiting for me to be stronger. You are not ashamed of how slowly I move. You are walking with me at the pace of grace. And that, too, is something to be thankful for. I thank you for not rushing me. I thank you for receiving my whispers as though they were shouts. I thank you for honoring what others might overlook: the shaky first steps, the hesitant beginnings, the flickers of hope I can barely name. I do not need my gratitude to be loud. I just need it to be true. I want to learn the kind of thankfulness that does not depend on the outcome. The kind that says, I see the pain, but I also see you. I feel the sorrow, but I also feel a spark of something deeper. Something steady. Something holy. I want to grow that kind of heart. One that does not wait for celebration to give thanks. One that sows praise in the middle of drought, trusting that fruit will come. God, I do not know how to do that on my own. I do not always know how to find the beauty when things feel broken. But I am asking you to help me. Help me to see with new eyes. Help me to feel with a heart that is open again. Help me to hold joy and grief in the same hands. And help me to keep saying thank you, even when I do not fully understand what I am thanking you for, because I believe that this act, this choice to be thankful, is a way of turning toward you. It is a way of keeping my heart soft. It is a way of remembering that I am not abandoned in this place. So I will say it again, and I will mean it as best I can. Thank you. Thank you for the morning light, for the strength to rise, for the mercy that greets me before I ask for it. Thank you for holding what I cannot hold on my own. Thank you for staying near when everything feels distant. Thank you for being the kind of God who receives my first whisper as if it were a song. I may not have much, but I have this. A heart that is still willing, a soul that is still reaching, a voice that is learning, slowly and gently, to speak thanks even in the dark. God, I feel the tears rising even before the words form. It is not because I plan to cry. It is not because I want to, but something is breaking open. Something I have kept buried is now rising to the surface, and I do not have the strength to hold it back any longer. The thankfulness I whispered before, as small and uncertain as it was, has loosened something deeper in me. It opened a door that grief has been waiting behind for too long, and now it spills out, not in tidy phrases or proper language, but in raw emotion that does not ask permission. There are tears I have swallowed for months, quiet sadnesses I kept tucked beneath responsibility and distraction. There are heartbreaks I never named, fears I never voiced, hopes I quietly let die. I told myself to be strong. I told myself to move forward. But now, in this still morning, with no one else watching, I realize how much I have held inside. I realize that these tears are not weakness. They are truth. They are the voice of my soul crying out for healing, for understanding, for relief. Lord, I have been afraid to cry in front of you. Afraid that my sorrow would sound like doubt. Afraid that my tears would somehow lessen my faith. But I am beginning to understand that you are not afraid of emotion. You are not offended by my honesty. You are not disappointed when my strength runs out. You are the one who collects every tear. The one who leans closer when my voice trembles. The one who welcomes my brokenness as part of the conversation. And so, I let the tears fall. I let the ache speak. I let the sorrow rise. Not as an enemy of faith, but as a bridge toward you. I cry not because I am lost, but because I am finding something real. I cry because there is too much to carry alone. And I am finally admitting it. These tears are not just sadness. They are the language of surrender. They are the evidence that I am no longer trying to hold it all together. They are my way of saying, I need you here, now, in the deepest part of me. I cannot keep performing. I cannot keep hiding. I need to be known, even in this mess, especially in this mess. Father, I wonder how many times I have come to you with carefully chosen words, with rehearsed prayers that avoided the things I feared to say out loud. I thought that silence was safer. That if I could control what I brought before you, maybe I could control what I felt. But pain does not disappear when ignored. It grows roots. And now I see that you never asked me to be polished. You asked me to be real. You never asked for performance. You asked for presence. And so I bring you my tears not as an afterthought, but as a sacred offering. There are memories I cannot shake, faces I miss, words I wish I could take back, moments that haunt me when the world goes quiet. There are failures that replay in my mind, questions that still have no answers, wounds that still sting when touched. And yet, here in this space, with the tears flowing freely, I feel something shifting. I feel you meeting me, not at the surface, but in the very center of my pain. You are not waiting for the tears to stop. You are sitting with me in them. These are not wasted tears. They are not falling into nothing. They are falling into your hands. They are watering the soil where something new can grow. You said that those who sow in tears will reap in joy. I do not see the joy yet, but I believe it will come, not because I am strong enough to chase it, but because you are faithful enough to bring it. These tears are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of the healing. And though my eyes are clouded right now, I trust that you are already planting beauty in the places that feel desolate. God, if tears are prayers, then let every drop speak on my behalf. Let them carry the words I cannot find. Let them say what I have been afraid to admit. Let them testify to the truth that I still trust you, even in the even in the absence of understanding. I believe you are good, even in the waiting. I believe you are near, even in the sorrow. I believe you are working. I am tired of pretending I am not affected. I am tired of smiling through the weight. I am tired of silencing the part of me that longs to be comforted. So I bring you everything: my grief, my frustration, my confusion, my longing. I bring you the part of me that still feels raw, and I ask you to hold me there, not to fix it all in one moment, but to sit with me long enough that I begin to feel safe again, safe to hope, safe to feel, safe to begin again. There is a strange kind of peace in letting go, a holy kind of freedom in not needing to explain everything. I do not need to understand the why to be held in the how. And right now, all I want is to be held, wrapped in grace, anchored in love, carried through this moment with tenderness. I do not need to rush to joy. I do not need to push through the sadness. I need to be where I am, and I need to know that you are here with me. So I release the fear that I am too much. I release the shame that I have cried too long. I release the voice that tells me to be quiet, to be fine, to be strong. And I let the tears speak. I let them run without apology. Because in your presence, nothing true is ever rejected. Nothing honest is ever wasted. You do not need me to hide. You need me to trust. And today, through my tears, I choose trust. Thank you for receiving what I could not even say. Thank you for holding what I could not hold alone. Thank you for the quiet assurance that every tear is seen, every H is known, every silent cry is heard. This is not the end. This is the middle. This is where mourning and mercy meet. This is where the soul finds its voice again. This is where I begin to believe that even in brokenness, I am still whole in you, and that is enough. For now, it is enough. Father, as my tears begin to quiet and the storm inside me softens just a little, there is a whisper that returns not from outside, but from deep within. It is not loud. It is not commanding, but it is steady. It says, "Remember," and at first, I hesitate. Remember what? Remember when everything now feels so loud, so uncertain, so overwhelming that memory seems almost unreachable. But still, the whisper persists. Remember who I have been to you. And with that, something stirs. I close my eyes for a moment and let my heart drift backward, past this H, past this hour, past the weight of this season. I begin to recall the places where you met me before. The nights I thought I would not survive, but somehow did. The situations I believed were too broken to heal, but somehow were mended. The days I almost gave up but found strength that was not my own. I remember prayers that once felt as desperate as the one I am praying now, and how those prayers became testimonies. How those seasons became chapters I can now look back on with gratitude, even if they still carry scars. God, you were there. I know you were. Even when I doubted, even when I ran, even when I was angry and silent and too wary to try. You were the steady presence I did not always recognize. You were the quiet hand holding me when I could no longer hold myself. You were the breath in my lungs when I was too tired to speak. You were the way through when I saw no way. And now, as I sit here in this new valley, I want to remember those truths again, not because they erase my current pain, because they remind me that pain does not mean abandonment. Struggle does not mean you have disappeared. You have walked with me through more than I can list, and though my memory sometimes fails, you have never failed. You were the one who brought light when I sat in the dark. You were the one who sent peace into chaos. You were the one who opened doors I did not even knock on, because I had lost the strength to try. And you did not do those things because I earned them. You did them because you are faithful. You are good. You are unchanging. And in a world that constantly shifts beneath my feet, that constancy is my anchor. I begin to see it now. Lord, the pattern of your faithfulness, like stars scattered across the map of my life. Maybe I did not always see you in the moment. Maybe I did not always understand. But looking back, I see your fingerprints in places I once called empty. I see your grace in places I once called hopeless. I see your love in moments I thought I had been forgotten. You have always been working, always been near, always been patient with my wandering, my doubting, my silence. Today, I choose to build an altar of remembrance not with stones, but with words, with the quiet acknowledgement of how far you have carried me, with the decision to mark this morning, not by how lost I feel, but by how found I have been before. I may not know what tomorrow holds. I may still feel fragile in the waiting, but I will not forget what you have already done. I will not forget how you showed up when I least expected. I will not forget how you whispered life into places I had buried. I will not forget how you made a way through what looked like the end. God, Help me to carry these memories as weapons against doubt. Help me to speak them over my fear. Help me to use them as light when the path ahead feels hidden, when I begin to slip into despair again. Remind me of the battles we have already won together. Remind me of the nights you sat beside me in silence, offering comfort that required no explanation. Remind me of the mornings I woke up with strength that could only have come from you. Remind me of the ways you protected me, even when I did not know I was in danger. These memories are not just stories. They are stones of faith. They are reminders that you have never failed me, and you are not going to start now. Even now, as the morning light continues to unfold around me, I see you in the quiet. Not because the pain is gone, but because your presence is greater than the pain. Not because I have all the answers, but because I remember that I have seen you work in ways I never could have planned. I remember the healing. I remember the rescue. I remember the comfort that wrapped around me like a blanket when all I had was sorrow. And if you were faithful then, you will be faithful now. That is who you are, not a momentary helper, but an everlasting refuge, not a temporary fix, but a present, loving Father. So I lean into what I know, even when what I feel tries to shout louder. I choose to remember instead of worry. I choose to trust instead of fear. I choose to believe that the same God who carried me through the fire before is the same God who walks with me now. You do not change. You do not forget. You do not grow weary of my need. And even when I feel like I am repeating the same cry again and again, you hear every word as if it is the first. You meet every morning with mercy. You meet every broken prayer with tenderness. I do not want to let the weight of today erase the beauty of yesterday. I do not want the noise of this season to silence the songs you have already sung over my life. I want to be a person who remembers, not to live in the past, but to be fueled by it, to let the evidence of your goodness become the lens through which I see what is ahead. When the next storm comes, and I want to remember this moment. I want to remember that even in the middle of uncertainty, there is a foundation that does not shake. Thank you, Lord, for the times you showed up quietly, for the ways you protected me from what I never saw, for the people you brought into my life at the exact right moment, for the doors you closed that I did not understand until later, for the grace that held me when I thought I had ruined everything. These memories are sacred. They are seeds. They are the reason I can say, even now, that I believe you will come through again, not because I am strong, but because you are. And so, I breathe a little deeper now. My heart, still healing, rests a little more gently in your hands. I am not where I want to be, but I am not where I was. I remember that now. And in that remembrance, something like hope begins to grow again. Quiet, small, but alive. I carry it with me into whatever this day holds, trusting that the one who has already done so much is not finished with me yet. Father, as I sit here remembering the ways you have been faithful, I feel something rise in me that was not there before. It is subtle but strong. It does not come from logic or emotion. It comes from somewhere deeper, somewhere rooted in the truth of who you are. It feels like courage. It feels like a quiet boldness, not born from certainty about my circumstances, but from certainty about you. I have cried. I have whispered thanks. I have remembered. And now, I sense you inviting me into something more, something active, something holy, something that does not wait for peace, but declares it in the midst of chaos. I realize now that gratitude is not only a soft prayer, it is also a weapon. Lord, I have spent many days letting fear take the lead. I have let anxiety speak the loudest. I have let doubt run wild in my thoughts. And I did not know that all along I had a sword in my hands. Not one of anger, not one of control, but a sword made of praise, a weapon formed from thankfulness, a shield built from remembrance. You have not left me defenseless. You have given me tools that do not look like the world's, but are far more powerful. And today, I pick one up. I choose to say thank you not as a soft sigh, but as a declaration. I thank you not just to be polite, but to stand my ground. I thank you not to ignore the darkness, but to push back against it. I thank you to tell every lie that tries to creep in that it is too late, because truth has already taken its place. Gratitude is not passive. It is fierce. It is steady. It is the voice of faith shouting through a battlefield. And even if my voice shakes, it still counts. Even if my hands tremble, they still lift. I thank you for who you are, and I say it loudly enough to drown out the voices of shame, of fear, of defeat. I thank you for what you have already done, and it silences the voice that says you have forgotten me. I thank you for what you are doing right now, even the things I cannot see, and that thankfulness becomes a barrier against despair. I thank you in advance for what is coming, and that becomes my defiant act of hope. This is how I fight, not with clenched fists, but with open hands, not with angry words, but with grateful ones. There are forces that want to steal my joy. I know that now. There are whispers in the dark that try to convince me that I am alone, that nothing will change, that I am not strong enough. But when I speak thanks, it cuts through those lies. It shines light into their hiding places. It reminds me that I am not powerless, that I am not forgotten, that I am not abandoned. I do not have to wait for the storm to pass before I lift my voice. In fact, the storm is the very reason I raise it now. God, you have always responded to gratitude, not because you need it, but because you are moved by faith. When hearts choose to bless you in the fire, you come closer. When souls choose to worship while still bleeding, you come near. And that is what I choose now. I choose to let praise rise before the victory is visible. I choose to let thanks be the sound of my spirit refusing to give up. I choose to let gratitude be my battle cry. I do not need to feel brave to be brave. I do not need to feel strong to be strong. I simply need to keep choosing you. I simply need to keep opening my mouth, even if all I can say is thank you, because in that phrase, there is resistance, there is remembrance, there is truth. And the enemy cannot stand the sound of truth. Darkness cannot dwell where gratitude is alive. Fear loses its grip when praise fills the atmosphere. So I stand here, Lord, not because the battle is over, but because I am learning how to fight differently. I am learning that spiritual strength does not always look like noise. Sometimes looks like a quiet song sung with trembling lips. Sometimes it looks like a smile in the middle of sorrow. Sometimes it looks like choosing to bless your name when everything in me wants to complain. I am learning that when I declare your goodness, I am not denying my struggle, I am defying its power over me. I thank you for breath. I thank you for this fight. I thank you for the strength that is growing in me, even when I cannot measure it. I thank you for the angels you send, for the battles you fight that I will never even know about. I thank you for the power in your name that breaks chains I cannot see. I thank you for the truth that sets me free, not just once, but every time I choose to believe it. This is not just surviving. This is spiritual resistance. This is holy ground. I may not feel like a warrior, but I know I am not weak, not because of me, but because you are with me. And if you are with me, I have everything I need. If you are for me, then what stands against me will fall. And I believe that as I keep walking, as I keep thanking, as I keep lifting my eyes, things are shifting. Maybe not all at once, maybe not in ways I expect, but something happens when your name is lifted high, and I will not stop lifting it. I will speak thanks over my home, over my heart, over my thoughts. I will speak thanks over my future, over my fears, over my waiting. I will speak thanks until it becomes the language I live in, not because everything is easy, but because you are worthy, because you have already won the war, and every small battle I face is just a chance to watch your victory unfold again. So this is where I stand, on ground that may shake, in a world that may change, but held by a God who never wavers, and with my feet planted and my eyes lifted, I speak the words that push back the dark. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a weapon that looks like worship. Thank you for giving me courage that comes from your spirit. Thank you for giving me the authority to praise. Before I see the breakthrough, I will keep praising. I will keep thanking. I will keep trusting, because this is how I fight, and you are the reason I will not fall. Lord, now that I have confessed, now that I have released what I was never meant to carry alone, something inside me has shifted again. It is not dramatic, it is not loud, but it is steady, like the ground after a storm has passed, damp and quiet, but no longer shaking. My heart feels lighter, not because everything around me has changed, but because something within me has been made still. And stillness, real stillness, is a gift I forgot how to receive. For so long, I have linked peace to resolution, as if calm can only come after the trial ends. But you are teaching me something new. You are showing me that peace does not wait for the storm to clear. It comes in the middle of it. Father, how often have I begged you to change my situation before I allowed myself to exhale? How many times have I thought, once this is over, then I will rest, then I will believe, then I will breathe again. But you are not waiting on the outcome. You are offering something now, in this very moment, when the questions are still unanswered and the weight is still here. And what you are offering is not escape. It is peace. Not the kind of peace that pretends everything is fine. Not the kind that needs denial to exist. But the kind that reaches into the center of chaos and says, even here, you are safe. Even here, you are held. Even here, I am with you. It is not shallow. It is not temporary. It is rooted in who you are, not in what I feel. It comes from fixing my eyes on you, not on the circumstances that rise and fall like waves around me. And that kind of peace cannot be shaken. God, I want to learn how to dwell in that place. I want to live from the inside out, not tossed around by every shift in the wind. I want to know you in the stillness of my soul, even when my world is noisy. I want to walk through hard things without being consumed by fear. I want to respond to pressure with quiet assurance, not because I am immune to pain, but because I trust the one who walks beside me in it. Help me to keep my mind stayed on you. Help me to keep bringing my thoughts back when they wander, back when they spiral, back when they try to take me places you never asked me to go. Teach me the discipline of peace, not the kind that waits for comfort, but the kind that creates it from within. Let my heart be anchored, not in what I can control, but in the certainty of your presence. You have not promised a life without hardship, but you have promised to be near. You have promised to be my refuge, my rock, my hiding place. And so I lean into that now. I lean into the reality that peace is not passive. It is a choice, a decision to believe that you are bigger than what surrounds me, a decision to hold on to truth when my emotions are loud, a decision to stand still when everything in me wants to run. Lord, sometimes the scariest part is not the battle, it is not knowing when it will end. The waiting, the in-between, the moments where I feel suspended between what was and what will be, those are the places where peace feels far away. But you are teaching me that those moments are sacred ground. They are not voids. They are spaces of becoming, places where trust is formed and roots grow deep. And if I can find you there, then I can find peace there too. I do not need to rush past this. I do not need to have all the answers. I need only to be present, to breathe in your nearness, to let you be enough for today. Not tomorrow, not next week, just this moment. This breath, this prayer. You are here. That is enough. Let your peace guard my heart from fear, from distraction, from the temptation to fix everything myself. Let it be like a river, flowing steady through every anxious thought, washing over every corner of my mind until it is clear again. Let it be like a blanket, wrapping around my awareness, reminding me that I am safe, even in the unknown. I am not asking you to take me out of the difficulty. I am asking you to join me in it, to make yourself known here, in the middle, to quiet my heart with the sound of your voice, to remind me that peace is not found in resolution, but in relationship, in knowing that no matter what comes, I will not face it alone. Even as I whisper these words, I can feel the battle within me calming, the need to control loosening its grip, the racing thoughts slowing. I feel the rhythm of rest returning, not because everything is finished, but because I have chosen to rest in you. I have chosen to believe that your presence is greater than my pressure, that your nearness is stronger than my anxiety, that your voice is softer, yet more powerful than every fear trying to rise again. So I welcome this peace not because the world around me demands it, but because my soul longs for it. Because I was not created to live in a state of panic. I was not made to carry burdens too heavy for me. I was formed to walk with you, to trust you, to dwell with you, even in the fire, even in the wilderness, even in the deep waters. And when I stay close to you, peace becomes my posture. It becomes the lens through which I see the world. Let me live like peace is possible now. Let me speak like peace is already mine. Let me respond to chaos with calm, not from my own strength, but from the peace you place within me. Let me be a vessel that carries peace into every room I enter, not because life is easy, but because you are enough. Thank you for this stillness that settles deeper than circumstance, for the calm that silences every lie, for the assurance that holds me steady when everything else feels fragile. You are not just the God of the ending. You are the God of the middle. And here, in the space between brokenness and breakthrough, I choose to rest. I choose to trust. I choose to dwell in peace, because you are here, and you have never left, God. As I rest in the peace you have placed within me, I begin to realize something unexpected. The silence is not empty. It is sacred. It is not weakness. It is worship. And in this stillness, I feel your presence in ways words could never reach. You are not waiting for noise to draw near. You are not measuring the volume of my faith by the sound of my voice. You are listening to my heart, the part of me that stays quiet when language feels too small, when emotions run too deep, when awe takes over and all I can do is breathe. Father, I used to think praise had to be loud, that worship needed to be expressed in boldness and songs and declarations. And sometimes it does. But today, I feel you drawing me into something quieter, something gentler, a space where gratitude does not shout, but it still speaks, a space where the loudest worship is the soul that chooses to remain open, even when it has no words left. This kind of praise is not about sound. It is about presence, and I am learning to dwell in it. I sit here, not rushing, not striving, just being, just letting my spirit rise toward you without the need for explanation. My hands are still, but my heart is reaching. My mouth is closed, but my soul is wide open. You hear what I cannot say. You understand what I cannot describe. And in this quiet offering, you are just as near, just as moved, just as attentive. This silence is not a void, it is a vessel, a place for communion that does not need performance or perfection. Just honesty. Lord, you are teaching me that stillness is not the absence of devotion. It is a form of it, a posture that says, I trust you enough to rest. I trust you enough to stop talking. I trust you enough to sit in your presence without needing to fix, to ask, or to plan. This is not laziness. This is faith. This is the sacred pause that allows my spirit to breathe in your nearness and exhale every anxiety. This is the silence that listens, the quiet that honors, the hush that holds space for the holy. There is a strength in this kind of worship that I never knew before, a deep resilience in the heart that still chooses to draw near without the fanfare. There are moments when praise is tears falling slowly down a face that has seen too much. Moments when it is simply the act of rising out of bed and whispering thank you into the dawn. Moments when it is a breath, a blink, a heartbeat that remembers you are still good. You are still here. I feel you here now, God. Not because I summoned you, but because you were already waiting. Already surrounding, already holding me in your quiet embrace. I feel you in the weight of the stillness. Not heavy, but grounding. I feel you in the gentle hush that falls over my thoughts, in the way my chest softens as I let go of every reason I thought I needed to prove my faith. You are not looking for noise. You are looking for truth. And in this silence, there is nothing left but truth. Sometimes I think we fill the air with words because we are afraid of what the silence might show us. But you are not afraid. You welcome the pause. You dwell in it. You speak through it. And right now, I want to be brave enough to follow you there. To let the silence stretch as long as it needs to find worship not just in the music, but in the moments between the notes. To learn that not every prayer has to be filled with sentences. Some can be filled with stillness. God, this quiet praise feels different, but it feels right. It feels like the kind of worship that goes deeper than declarations. It feels like trust without needing to prove anything. It feels like love that does not demand constant expression to stay alive. It feels like being with someone who knows you so well. You do not have to speak to be understood. And that is how I feel with you. Understood, known, loved in ways I cannot earn or explain. There is beauty here that I have missed before, hidden in the stillness I used to avoid. I see it now in the way the morning light moves slowly across the floor, in the rhythm of my breath, in the soft flutter of peace that rests over my thoughts, like a quiet song. I used to wait for loud moments to feel connected to you, but I see now that this connection never depended on sound. It has always been about closeness, about turning my heart toward you, whether through a shout or a sigh or nothing at all. Let this be enough today. Let this quiet communion be pleasing to you. Let it rise as incense from a heart is not striving but surrendered. From a soul that knows peace is not found in noise, but in nearness. Let my silence speak what my words cannot. Let it testify that I trust you, even when I do not know what comes next. Let it echo with the kind of praise that needs no audience but you. I do not want to miss the sacred simply because it is silent. I do not want to overlook what you are doing because it is not loud. Teach me to notice, to slow down, to sit in this place without rushing to fill it. Let me find comfort here, not in what I can say to you, but in knowing you are listening to what I cannot say. Let me worship you in a way that honors your presence with reverence, with stillness, with awe. Father, thank you for not needing me to be loud to be real. Thank you for hearing what is unspoken, for accepting this silent song as worship, for receiving what I offer, even when it feels small. In this quiet place, I feel safe, I feel known, I feel held. And I know that is enough. I know that you are enough. So I stay here a little longer, not because I have more to say, but because I want to remain in this moment. Because the silence between us is not empty. It is full of love, full of presence, full of you, and for now. That is the holiest sound I could ever make. Father, as I sit with you in this quiet place, where words have given way to stillness, and stillness has turned into worship, there is something else rising from deep within. It is subtler than sorrow, less obvious than fear, but it lingers like a shadow over joy. I feel it when I scroll through other people's lives. I sense it in conversations where success is celebrated. It creeps in quietly when I measure what I have against what I see in others. It is the H of comparison, the silent thief, that steals the joy you have already placed in my hands. God, I did not invite this feeling, but I have let it stay. I have let it whisper that I am behind, that I should be further along, that my life should look more like theirs. I have watched others shine and wondered if I have missed my moment. I have looked at someone else's blessing and felt mine shrink in the mirror of their success. I have let the enemy convince me what you have given me is not enough simply because it does not look like what you gave someone else. And now I confess it, not to be shamed, but to be set free. Lord, you never asked me to be like anyone else. You did not create me to be a copy. You formed me with intention, with a purpose uniquely woven into my soul. Yet I have forgotten that. I have let the noise around me drown out the truth. I have measured my worth by things were never meant to define me: appearance, status, timing, applause. I have let comparison blind me to beauty. I have missed the wonder of my own journey because I have been staring too long at someone else's. But I do not want to live like this. I do not want to trade the peace of presence for the poison of comparison. I do not want to look at the table you have prepared for me and wish I were sitting at another. I want to see clearly. I want to give thanks fully. I want to cherish what is mine without envy for what is not. So I lay down the thoughts that whisper I am behind. I silence the voice that says I am not enough. I speak truth over my soul. I am loved. I am chosen. I am on a path that has been written with care by hands that know the end from the beginning. Teach me, Lord, how to rejoice without resentment, to celebrate others without questioning my own story, to see beauty in their blessings and not let it steal the wonder in mine. Help me to stop keeping score, to stop measuring my life by timelines and milestones that were never mine to chase. Let me lean into the rhythm you have written for me, one breath at a time, trusting that where I am is not a mistake. Let me believe that your timing is not only good, it is best. God, I have missed so many miracles because I was too busy comparing. I have overlooked answered prayers because they came in a different package than I expected. I have turned gifts into grievances. I have turned seasons of growth into moments of envy. I have looked at my reflection and only seen what I lack, not what you have planted. But today, I choose to see differently. I choose to look around with fresh eyes. I choose to give thanks not later, not when I feel like I measure up, but now. Thank you for what is mine. Thank you for the breath I breathe, the space I occupy, the people who love me, the story unfolding in my life even when I do not understand it. Thank you for the little things I take for granted, for the sun rising again, for the fact that my heart still beats with purpose. Thank you for not rushing me, for not comparing me to anyone else, for simply loving me as I am, where I am. I know comparison does more than steal joy. It creates distance between me and you. It turns my eyes away from what you are doing and onto what you are doing for someone else. And when that happens, I miss the intimacy of walking with you in my own story. So I bring my focus back. I turn my gaze from the crowd to the Creator. I shift from asking why not me to saying thank you for me, for my life, my path, my pace. I surrender the lie that I must look like anyone else to be valuable. I embrace the truth that your love is not measured or divided, it is infinite, personal, and constant. Father, I do not want to be distracted anymore. I want to be deeply present. I want to wake up to the wonder around me. I want to live eyes wide open, not to what others have, but to what you have entrusted to me. Let my heart overflow with such gratitude that envy has no room left to root. Let my soul be so anchored in your voice that the noise of comparison loses its power. Let my life speak of a joy that is not shaken by what others do or do not have. Help me to bless others freely, to encourage them without hesitation, to mean it when I celebrate them, because your goodness is not scarce. There is more than enough for everyone. Someone else's breakthrough does not mean I have been forgotten. Their story is not my competition. It is a reminder that you are working, that you are moving, that you are faithful to fulfill promises, and mine is not lost. Let me be patient, not just with my circumstances, but with myself. Let me extend the same grace to my own journey that I offer to others. Let me rest in the knowledge that I am not late. I am not lacking. I am not behind. I am right where I am supposed to be, in your hands, under your watch, moving at the speed of your grace. So I trade the H of comparison for the ease of gratitude. I trade the pressure to perform for the peace of being. I trade the burden of measuring up for the beauty of looking up. I choose joy. I choose presence. I choose to honor what I have. Right here, right now, because it is good and it is enough. And I know that in this posture of praise, I will see more clearly, love more freely, and live more fully anchored in the truth that I am yours, and you are more than enough. Lord, as I release the burden of comparison and begin to truly see what is mine, something else awakens within me, a deep and gentle realization that I have often missed the miracle of now. I have spent so much time looking back, regretting, reliving, reanalyzing, and just as often, I have been looking forward, worrying, planning, waiting for something that always seems just beyond reach. But this moment, this very breath, this stillness with you, it is not a placeholder. It is not an accident. It is a gift. Father, help me not to overlook what is right in front of me. Help me not to treat the present as something to endure until the next big thing arrives. Open my eyes to see that this moment is sacred, even if it seems ordinary. That right here, in this breath, you are present. That right here, in this quiet hour, eternity is touching time. Teach me not to run past this. Teach me not to wish it away or rush through it. Let me sit fully in what is, not in what was or what might be, but in what is right now. I confess that I have often rushed through my days on autopilot. I have let moments pass unnoticed because I was too distracted, too hurried, too focused on what is next. I have stood in beautiful places with my heart elsewhere. I have spoken to people I love without really listening. I have been alive without truly living. And all the while, you have been here steady, patient, present, waiting for me to return to the moment we share. God, this morning, I want to return. I want to come back to the now. I want to be fully awake to what this moment offers. The sound of quiet, the rhythm of my breath, the gentle light creeping through the window, the truth that I am alive and loved and held by you. Nothing more is required of me in this moment than to be with you, to notice, to breathe, to let my heart slow down and settle into the reality that this is enough. Let me live with a heart that notices what matters. Let me pause long enough to feel the morning air on my skin and be thankful for it. Let me see the sky not as routine, but as artwork. Let me sip my coffee slowly and give thanks for warmth. Let me notice the face of someone I love and marvel that I get to share this life with them. Let me read your word not to check a box, but to hear your voice speaking right now. Let me listen to my own heart and bring it gently to you. Unfiltered, unhurried, and whole. I do not want to miss what you are doing because I am too focused on what has not yet happened. I do not want to wait for someday to be happy when you are offering joy today. You are not only the God of my future and my past, you are the God of this moment. You are here, now, and that means this moment matters. Lord, teach me to resist the urge to live elsewhere. Teach me to stop replaying what cannot be changed and rehearsing what has not come. Teach me to breathe in grace for today, to walk in mercy that is new this morning, to trust that the provision you have given for this day is not lacking. The strength I need, the peace I seek, the presence I crave, they are here in this hour. Because you are here, let me hold today with open hands, not trying to control it, not trying to escape it, but receiving it as the holy ground it is. Whether this day brings joy or sorrow, clarity or questions, laughter or tears, let me meet it with a heart fully present and open to you. Let me bless it instead of bracing for it. Let me welcome it instead of wishing it away. Let me live it instead of enduring it. God, I know that when I live in the present, I live in alignment with you, because you always meet me here, not in my nostalgia, not in my worry, but right here in the unfolding now. So often I look for you in the next thing, the next solution, the next season. But you whisper that you are here already, in this moment, in this breath, in this quiet. And if I miss you here, I will miss the only place you can ever truly be encountered now. I want to walk through this day with new eyes, to see interruptions not as obstacles, but as invitations, to see small tasks not as burdens, but as opportunities to be faithful, to greet each face not as routine, but as a reflection of your image. I want to slow down, not just in pace, but in spirit, to be intentional, to be gentle, to be rooted in this moment so deeply that I stop asking what is next and start asking what is here. Thank you for now, for this sunrise, for this breath, for this chance to begin again. Thank you for not rushing me past this moment, for reminding me that I do not have to achieve something grand for this day to be valuable, that being alive, aware, and connected to you is already more than enough. That holiness is often hidden in the mundane, in the seemingly insignificant moments I am tempted to overlook. Let me wake up to wonder again. Let me stop waiting for the extraordinary and start recognizing the miracle in what I already have. Let me choose presence over performance. Let me choose connection over distraction. Let me find you in the silence, in the sound, in the slow unfolding of this one precious day. Let me be present with myself, with others, and most of all, with you, Lord. If I can just live this day well with open hands and a grateful heart, I know you will meet me in it. I know you will guide me through it. I know you will reveal things I would have missed had I been somewhere else in my mind. I do not want to miss the sacred hidden in the simple. I do not want to miss the presence of heaven disguised as now. So I surrender my obsession with the next and choose to be here fully, deeply, and intentionally with you, Lord, as I slow down enough to receive the gift of this moment, as I breathe with intention and notice the simple beauty of being here with you. There is something stirring deeper still. It is not loud. It is not even fully formed, but it feels like an invitation, not just to be present, but to believe, not just to notice what is, but to trust you for what is to come. And in that space between where I am and where I am going, I find myself reaching for a kind of thankfulness that does not wait, a kind that declares truth ahead of time, a kind that chooses to give thanks, not because the future is clear, but because you are. Father, this kind of thanksgiving is different. It is not tied to outcome. It is not based on what has already arrived. It is rooted in trust, in the assurance of who you are, not in the certainty of how things will unfold. You know how hard that is for me sometimes. My mind likes to understand. My heart wants to feel safe in knowing what is next, but faith does not grow in certainty. It grows in surrender, and gratitude in the unknown that is the kind that builds deep roots. So I thank you now, not because I see everything working out, because I trust that you are already moving. I thank you while doors are still closed, believing you are preparing what I cannot yet see. I thank you in the middle of the questions, before the answers come, knowing that you are not distant in the waiting. You are near, and your presence is enough for today. God, I have seen what happens when I let fear fill in the gaps. I have seen how easily anxiety takes over when I try to figure everything out on my own. But I do not want to live like that. I do not want to hold my breath until life makes sense. I want to exhale, I want to thank you now. I want to declare that you are good, not just when I see the miracle, but when I am still in the hallway, still in the silence, still in the space where nothing seems to be moving. You have been faithful before. I have said it. I have remembered it. But now you are asking me to apply that faith forward, to speak thanksgiving not as a reflection of what is already happened, but as a prophecy of what I believe you are doing even now. And that kind of faith, I know, moves your heart. That kind of trust invites you to do what only you can do. Help me to stop measuring your goodness by the pace of my timeline. Help me to stop defining progress by how quickly my prayers are answered. Let me learn to rest in the truth that if I have you, I already have what I need most. Let me remember that sometimes the waiting is not a pause, but a preparation. That sometimes the delay is not a denial, but a deepening of what is being formed inside me. And so, I thank you for what has not happened yet. I thank you for the provision that is on its way, for the healing you are already beginning in places I have not even noticed are broken, for the conversations that will bring restoration, for the relationships you will redeem, for the strength you are building quietly in my spirit as I wait and trust and lean into you. I thank you for the doors you are closing too, for the no that protected me, for the redirection that felt like disappointment, but was actually your mercy, for the prayers that did not get the answer I wanted, because you had something better in mind. I thank you for all the ways you are working behind the scenes, orchestrating 1,000 details I may never see, because you love me that completely. Lord, I want to be someone who gives thanks on this side of the breakthrough. I want to be the kind of heart that praises you before the tide turns, that does not wait for the storm to end before raising my hands, that says you are good, not when everything feels good, but because you never change, even when everything else does. You are trustworthy, even when I am unsure. You are steady, even when I feel shaken. You are already in the future I fear, already holding the answers I long for. And if that is true, then I can let go. I can surrender control. I can unclench my fists and open my hands, not just to release my worries, but to receive peace. Let this gratitude become my declaration. Let it be the sound of my trust, rising above every unknown. Let it build something inside me that is stronger than fear. Let it become a foundation I stand on when everything else feels uncertain. Because thankfulness is more than words, it is the shape of my faith, spoken into the unseen. Let me learn to walk like someone who believes you are already at work. Let me move through this day with a posture of expectation, not dread. Let me stop bracing for disappointment and start anticipating your goodness. Let me speak over my own life with hope, not just wishful thinking, but confident trust that you are present and you are good. Father, thank you for the courage to believe again. Thank you for breathing fresh trust into my spirit. Thank you for the gentle way you remind me that I do not have to have it all figured out, that it is not my job to know the outcome, only to trust the one who does. So I will thank you now for the way you lead me through what I cannot predict, for the ways you have already gone before me, for the doors you will open, the paths you will clear, the healing you will bring, the purpose you will reveal. I will not wait for the finish line to raise my voice. I will praise you now, here in the middle, because you are faithful, and you are already working all things together for good. Let this kind of thanksgiving shape my days. Let it quiet my restlessness. Let it soften my striving. Let it teach me how to live with open hands and an open heart. Let it be a rhythm, a reflex, a way of life that reflects the trust I place in you, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is not. Because if I can learn to thank you now, before the answer, then I have learned to trust you fully. And that trust is the deepest praise I can give. Father, after learning to thank you for what I cannot yet see, something even deeper is being stirred in me, a boldness I did not expect. A courage that rises not from what is certain, but from what is sacred. It is the realization that even in places that feel broken, I still have the authority in your name to speak life. I do not have to wait for healing to declare hope. I do not have to wait for restoration to speak blessing. I do not have to wait until I feel whole to believe that beauty can rise from what has fallen apart. Lord, this brokenness that I carry, I bring it to you now, not just with questions or pain, but with intentional praise, with the awareness that you are not finished here. This hurt is not a dead end. This loss is not the conclusion of the story. It is a chapter, but it is not the last one, and I choose, even here, to declare that you are good, that you are working, that blessing is being written into this very soil, even if all I can see right now are ashes. God, you taught us that death is never the end with you. You taught us that from the grave comes resurrection, that from emptiness comes abundance, that from sorrow comes dancing. And if I believe you are the same God now that you have always been, then I must believe that even my most fractured places can become foundations for something holy. So I speak blessing over what looks like failure. I declare that even in disappointment, your favor has not left me. I speak blessing over seasons that ended too soon, over dreams that did not unfold the way I hoped. I bless the memories I have tried to bury. I bless the longing that still aches when no one is watching. I bless it not because I enjoy the pain, because I trust that no pain is wasted in your hands. Lord, let every tear I have cried become water for new things to grow. Let every setback become sacred ground for redemption. Let every shattered piece become material for a mosaic only you could design. I choose to see beyond the mess. I choose to speak blessing into the places I once cursed, into the situations I once saw as too far gone, into the wounds I once hid in shame. I choose to believe you are writing something greater than what I lost. And Father, help me not just to speak blessing over myself, but over others too, over those who hurt me, over those I have misunderstood, over the people I have blamed for parts of my pain. Let my heart be generous even with my forgiveness. Let blessing flow from my mouth where bitterness once lived. Let grace take root where judgment once tried to grow. I cannot declare blessing while holding resentment, so I release it. I release the offense, the pride, the need to be right, and in its place, I speak peace. God, I know this world is broken. I see it in the news, in my community, in my own reflection, but I will not mirror that brokenness with more despair. I will reflect the light of heaven instead. I will speak with the voice of faith, not fear. I will declare that your goodness is not limited to easy seasons, that your blessings are not withheld from hard places. I believe that blessing is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of your hand guiding me through it. So I speak blessing over my mind when it feels overwhelmed. I speak clarity where confusion has lingered. I speak peace where anxiety has taken root. I speak blessing over my body, even in its weakness. I speak strength into tired limbs, rest into aching muscles, and healing into every hidden place that needs your touch. I speak blessing over my relationships, asking that what has grown distant would begin to draw near again, that what has been damaged by silence or misunderstanding would be restored with kindness and grace. I speak blessing over my home, that it would be filled not with perfection, but with peace, that it would echo with laughter and honesty, even in imperfection, that it would become a refuge where truth is spoken gently and love is given freely. I speak blessing over my work, over my hands, over the tasks that sometimes feel mundane. Let purpose rise in every moment. Let gratitude transform every routine. Let the work of my life reflect the wonder of your presence. Lord, I even speak blessing over the unknown, over the steps I have not taken yet, over the choices I am still praying through. I won't fear what is ahead. I will declare that you go before me, and what waits for me is not empty or dangerous, it is filled with grace. You are already in my tomorrow, preparing it with the same care that carried me through yesterday. So I bless the ground I have not touched yet. I bless the doors I have not walked through. I bless the chapters I have not written, because I know you will meet me there. And when doubt tries to creep in, when old wounds try to reopen, when fear whispers that blessing cannot live in broken places, I will speak louder. I will speak the truth of who you are over the noise. You are the restorer. You are the redeemer. You are the God who brings beauty from dust, and I am not the exception to that promise. My life is not the one you forgot. My story is not too messy for blessing to grow. If anything, it is the perfect ground for it. Let my words plant seeds. Let my faith water them. Let your spirit bring the increase. Let what I speak in faith today become the testimony I carry tomorrow. Let my tongue be trained not by my pain, but by your promises. Let my declarations shape not just my perspective, but my reality, because I believe there is power in speaking blessing, even when the evidence has not shown up yet. So here, in this place that still holds remnants of sorrow, I lift my voice, not with empty wishes, but with holy confidence. I say this is not the end. I say hope still has breath. I say goodness and mercy are still chasing me down. I say that what was broken will be beautiful again, not by my strength, but by yours. Not in my timing, but in yours. And until I see it, I will keep declaring it. Because sometimes faith sounds like a whisper, and sometimes it sounds like blessing spoken over ruins. Either way, I will not stop. I will not be silent. I will not let brokenness speak louder than the promise you have already made. Lord, After declaring blessing over what once felt barren, I feel a quiet stillness settle over me again, not the silence of distance, but the hush of something sacred growing beneath the surface. And in this quiet, I become more aware of how often I have resisted seasons of waiting, how quickly I have tried to rush past the uncomfortable in search of resolution. But you are teaching me that gratitude does not begin when the wait is over. It is meant to live here too, right in the middle of the unknown. You are showing me that waiting is not wasted when it is filled with trust. Father, waiting has never come easily to me. My heart grows restless. My thoughts race toward outcomes. I find myself imagining how things could go, what could happen, what I must do to get there faster. I treat waiting like a hallway between what was and what will be, something to pass through as quickly as possible. But you are reminding me now that waiting is not a void. It is a classroom. It is a garden. It is a sacred space where you plant things in me I would not have received if everything came quickly. So I shift my focus today. Instead of asking how long, I ask what for. What are you shaping in me right now that could not be formed in the rush? What strength are you developing in the stillness? What part of my character are you refining as I release control? What depths of trust are becoming roots in my spirit so that I will not be shaken when the storms come? Help me see the waiting not as punishment, but as preparation, not as delay, but as divine timing, not as the absence of movement, but as the presence of purpose. God, I want to thank you in this space, not for what has already arrived, but for what is being built, layer by layer, in the silence. I thank you for the lessons hidden in the stretch of time, for the wisdom that grows when nothing seems to change, for the patience that deepens when answers do not arrive on schedule. I thank you for every slow sunrise that teaches me how to lean into you instead of leaping ahead of you. Sometimes, Lord, the waiting feels like being forgotten. It feels like silence means absence, like nothing happening means nothing is being done. But I know better. I know that you are never idle. I know that behind what I cannot see, you are always working, shaping, stirring, orchestrating things I do not yet understand. And more than that, you are working inside of me, unraveling my need to rush, soothing my anxious spirit, reminding me that you are not just preparing the blessing for me, you are preparing me for the blessing. Let my heart become soft in this space. Let it become teachable, not tense. Let it learn the sacred rhythm of waiting well. Let me wake up each day with expectancy instead of anxiety. Let my thankfulness lead me back to you again and again when my thoughts want to run ahead. You are not slow as I understand slowness. You are intentional. You are precise. You know what I need before I know to ask for it. And you are never late, not even once. Father, there are places in my life where I am still waiting for clarity, waiting for provision, waiting for breakthrough, waiting for reconciliation. And some of those places have been quiet for so long, I have almost stopped praying about them. But today, I lift them back into your hands, not with desperation, but with peace, not with timelines, but with trust. I do not need to know when or how anymore. I just want to know you are near, that you are with me in the in-between. Help me to see the gifts in this season. Help me not to overlook what you are doing, because it does not look the way I thought it would. Maybe the answer is not something coming to me. Maybe it is something growing within me. And if that is true, then I say yes. I say yes to being shaped in the quiet. I say yes to becoming more patient, more anchored, more whole. I say yes to transformation that happens over time, not just in moments. Let gratitude become the soil I live in while I wait. Let it nourish me when progress feels invisible. Let it become the language of my spirit so deeply that even if nothing changes today, I still say thank you. Thank you for the slowness. Thank you for the unseen work. Thank you for every breath I take that reminds me I am still here. Still growing, still held by you. Teach me to rest in your timeline, to believe that your pace is protection, to accept that waiting is not falling behind, it is moving according to a divine rhythm that has no pressure, no panic, no race. Let me see my delays not as detours, but as invitations. Invitations to lean closer, to listen deeper, to believe that if you are asking me to wait, it must be because what is coming is worth it, and because you love me enough not to give it too soon. God, I do not want to waste this waiting. I do not want to be so focused on what is next that I miss the holy right here. I want to look back on this season and know that I met you here, that I found treasures in the stillness I could not have found in motion, that I became someone steadier, gentler, more trusting, more in love with you, because I stayed when I could have rushed, because I believed when I could have doubted. So I want to just sit through this waiting. I will worship through it. I will build altars of gratitude here. I will mark these days not with frustration, but with faith. I will celebrate the small steps, the tiny signs, the simple reminders that you have not forgotten me. I will whisper thank you when nothing seems to move. I will praise you when all I have is a promise, because gratitude in the waiting is not just trust, it is a declaration. It is faith reaching forward and saying, I know you are still good. Even here, I know you are still faithful. Even now, I know you are still God, and that is always enough. Certainly. Here is, Lord, in this quiet hour when my heart stirs with the same breath that shaped the morning, I cannot help but look back, not because I am dwelling in the past, but because the trail behind me tells a story that must not be forgotten. The waiting has begun to soften me, to teach me to sit still long enough to remember not the pain alone, but what followed it, the mercies that met me, the moments I thought I would fall apart, and somehow I did not, the nights I cried into the silence and woke up with just enough strength to take another step. These are not small things, they are signs. Signs that you were there, that you are still here. Father, I remember the first time I saw you in a way I could not deny. It was not in a church or a sermon. It was in the way peace fell like a blanket over my fear, when everything was falling apart. It was in the unexpected kindness of a stranger, when I felt invisible. It was in the stillness that came in the middle of chaos. the stillness that had no explanation except that you had entered the room. These moments have become like stones in my spirit, stacked up, one by one, reminders of who you are when I forget who I am. Help me not to forget, Lord. Let memory become my anchor today, when I am tempted to panic about the things I cannot control. Remind me of the things you already carried me through. When I am overwhelmed by the mountain in front of me, show me how many I have already climbed with your help. When I doubt that you will come through again, bring to mind the last time you did, and the time before that, and all the times I did not even realize it was you who intervened. You have never let me go. Not once. Even in the silence, you were near. Even in the delay, you were preparing something better. Even in the heartbreak, you were holding the pieces of me together. And now, as I sit in this place between what was and what is coming, I choose to remember not the fear, but the faithfulness, not the hurt, but the healing, not the delay, but the deliverance. God, you are a storyteller, and every chapter of my life that felt like an ending was only the middle of something sacred. I did not see it then, but now I know. You were writing redemption between the lines of my despair. You were folding purpose into the pain. You were planting hope even in the ashes. And you have done it before. You will do it again. I have no reason to believe you will fail now. I think of the people in the scriptures who built altars after you showed up, not to impress you, but to remind themselves. I want to build altars in my own life, not out of stones or wood, but with my words, with my memories, with every whispered thank you that rises out of me today. Let this be my offering. Let this be my declaration, that even when I do not understand what you are doing, I will remember what you have already done, and that memory will become the soil of my trust. You parted seas when there was no way. You fed souls when they were empty. You calmed storms with just a word. And you, the same God who was faithful then, are not distant now. Your love does not expire. Your mercy does not diminish. Your promises are not worn out by time. So I hold on to the thread of memory today, not to go backward, but to move forward with courage. Lord, I confess that sometimes I treat each new battle like the first. I panic. I question. I forget. But you are patient with me. You do not shame me for remembering slowly. Instead, you meet me in the middle of my forgetfulness with gentle reminders, a song that stirs something old and sacred, a verse that feels like it was written just for me, a friend's voice at the perfect time. These are not coincidences. They are kindnesses. They are you, reaching through the fog, reminding me that you have always been faithful. Let this moment be one of sacred remembering, not a nostalgic escape, but a powerful returning to truth. I have not made it this far by my own strength. I have not survived simply because of resilience. It was you. Always you. And the same hand that carried me then is stretched out toward me now, steady and strong. I do not walk alone into this day. Let every fear bow before the evidence of your past goodness. Let every worry be weighed against the record of your unwavering love. Let every shadow be chased away by the light of what I have already seen you do. I do not need to make up hope today. I just need to remember. I need to reach into the archives of my own life and pull out the stories that tell me you are still who you said you were, that you never fail, that you never forget your children. So I will name them, one by one, the moments you came through, the miracles big and small, the comfort I did not earn, the grace I did not ask for, the doors that opened, the ones that closed for my protection, the people who showed up at just the right time, the strength I did not know I had, the peace that surpassed understanding, the joy that returned after sorrow. I will name them all as best I can, and I will let them speak louder than my doubt. These are the stones of remembrance I carry with me today, not as burdens, but as testimonies, not as relics, but as fuel. They will light my path forward. They will remind me to trust again, to believe again, to breathe again. They will silence the voices that say I am forgotten or alone or lost, because you have proven otherwise, again and again. So I step into this day not only with hope for what is to come, but with deep gratitude for what has already been. My story is not just one of survival. It is one of encounter, of being met by you in places I never expected, and being changed by those meetings. You have made my past holy with your presence, and for that, I thank you with everything in me, Lord. Even as I carry the memories of your past faithfulness like quiet flames in my chest, I confess that trust is not always easy for me. Though I remember, though I believe, there is a trembling in me still. It comes not from doubt in who you are, but from the ache of waiting, the weight of uncertainty, and the fear that maybe this time will be different. So today, I choose, not because it feels effortless, but because trust is a decision, a daily act of surrender, a quiet laying down of all I cannot carry on my own. Father, I bring before you the places in my heart where I still hesitate, the parts of me that flinch from hope, because they have been disappointed before, the corners where fear has taken root because life did not unfold as I had planned. But I do not want to live with clenched fists or a guarded spirit. I want to live with open hands, even if they shake. I want to trust again, not in the outcome, but in you. Not in what I can predict, but in your character, which does not change. You have never once failed to be yourself, constant, good, present. You have never withheld love or turned away when I cried out. So why should I hold back now? Let today be a soft returning, a quiet recommitment. Teach my heart that trust is not a feeling I must chase, but a choice I can make, even in the fog. When the path ahead is not clear, remind me that clarity is not my savior, you are. When I cannot see what is next, remind me that you go before me, and that is enough, God. I lay down the need to understand everything. I set aside the urgency to control. I release the timelines I have created in my own mind. I surrender my expectations, not because I am giving up, but because I am giving them to you. You who hold time. You who know the end from the beginning. You who shape good from even the broken pieces. Let me trust not only in the promise, but in the process. Not only in the destination, but in the journey you are walking with me. Some days, trust looks like confidence. Other days, it looks like barely holding on, but you accept both. You meet me in the middle of my brave and in the center of my trembling. You do not require perfection, only honesty. So here I am, offering both my belief and my fear, both my yes and my help me believe. Hold them both, and hold me too. Remind me that I am safest in the arms of surrender, not in the illusion of control. Let my trust be rooted not in what I see, but in who I know you to be. Let it be built on the rock of your faithfulness, not the sand of my emotions. Let it grow quietly, like a seed in the soil, unseen but alive. Let it deepen every time I choose you over anxiety, every time I whisper your name instead of spiraling into fear. Let it become the melody that plays beneath the noise of my worries, steady and sure. You are not a distant deity demanding flawless faith. You are a loving Father inviting me to fall into your care again and again. So I do. I fall forward not in failure, but in trust. I lean into you, believing that you catch every tear, hear every sigh, and honor every trembling step I take toward you. This is the day you have made, and I will walk through it leaning, not on my own understanding, but on your unchanging heart. Grow this trust in me, Lord, not as a quick solution, but as a deep-rooted strength. Let it become the rhythm of my living and the foundation beneath my choices. Let it carry me through what I cannot fix and lead me into peace that passes understanding. Let it be my answer when the questions are too big, and my anchor when everything else shifts. And when I forget, as I surely will, bring me back gently, again and again. And again, even when my mind wanders. Pull me back with compassion, even when doubt whispers louder than truth. Let your whisper be stronger still. Let trust rise within me not as a loud declaration, but as a quiet persistence, like waves shaping a shoreline with their faithful return. Let it not be driven by sight, but by remembrance. Remind me of the stories I have lived through, the ones you have already written, the victories I once feared would never come. Help me remember, not just with my mind, but with my spirit. Let that memory become my courage today. And if all I can do is take one step, then let that step be toward you. One honest, trembling, beautiful step of trust. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Let today not pass without this step. Let this step echo in eternity. Let this choice ripple in my soul. Lord, as I breathe in this quiet moment, still held by the lingering echoes of yesterday's trust. I feel the hush of your presence settling over me, like the gentlest morning mist. The noise within me softens. The questions that once clamored now fall into a hush. It is here, in this silent space where nothing is forced, that I begin to feel peace, not as an escape from trouble, but as a companion in it, not the loud triumph of resolution, but the sacred presence of you beside me, even when nothing has been solved. You are not waiting for my chaos to end before you come near. You come into it. You whisper into it. You make peace possible not because everything is fixed, but because you are here. Father, I confess how easily I chase after answers, resolutions, and reassurance, hoping they will silence the unrest in my soul. But nothing external can do what your nearness does. In stillness, you remind me that peace is not the absence of storm, but the presence of steadfast love. It is not perfection that brings rest, but proximity to the one who holds all things together. So I let go of the frantic need to fix and instead lean into this pause, this holy hush where you are enough. God, still my thoughts the way you still the sea. Speak peace. Be still over the waves of anxiety that rise without warning. Teach me the strength of resting in you. Not because I have surrendered the struggle, but because I have placed the struggle into your capable hands. Let me be like Mary at your feet, choosing the better thing, not performance or productivity, but presence. Not striving, but abiding. I do not need all the answers to feel safe. I need only the assurance that you are near. Let that truth become the pillow on which I lay my burdens. Let it be the whisper that calms the restlessness, the shelter that quiets the rush of thoughts. I do not come to demand direction today, but to dwell in communion, to be held, to be heard, to breathe in and know that you are here, and I am not alone. In the stillness, I rediscover what matters most, not the pace I keep or the goals I chase, but the truth that you are with me. Your peace wraps around me like a soft garment, not constricting, but comforting. Not imposed, but gently offered, and I accept it. Not because I have figured everything out, but because I choose to receive what I cannot earn. This peace, your peace, surpasses understanding. It does not explain, it transcends. Father, remind me that it is in quietness and trust that strength is found, not in noise, not in panic, not in pretending to be okay. You invite me into the hidden place, the still waters, the green pastures where my soul is restored not by solving, but by simply being with you. So let me linger, let me exhale. Let me stop trying to be strong and just be still. Let your peace do what effort cannot. Sometimes I fear the silence because it feels like absence. But you are not absent in the quiet. You are closer than ever, speaking not with thunder, but with a still small voice. And in learning to listen to that voice, I begin to live differently. I become less reactive, more rooted, less frantic, more faithful. Your peace becomes the rhythm of my inner life, slow and steady, anchoring me in ways I did not know I needed. God, help me protect this peace. Teach me to return to it again and again when chaos knocks. Let it be my default, not my last resort. Let it guide my responses, soften my edges, and slow my steps. Let me be a bearer of peace in a world addicted to hurry. Let your stillness go with me into every meeting, every conversation, every decision. Not a fragile calm, but a holy steadiness born from knowing I am yours. Let peace shape how I pray, not out of desperation, but out of communion. Let it guide how I speak, with gentleness rather than urgency. Let it inform how I love, not rushed, not reactive, but intentional and present. Let peace be the unshakable evidence that I am living from a place of trust, not fear, that I am anchored, not drifting, that I am held, not lost. Lord, if my thoughts begin to race again, bring me back to this sanctuary within. If fear whispers its lies, let your truth rise louder. If doubt creeps in, anchor me again in what I know. You are good, you are near, and you are for me. Let me be unafraid of pausing, unashamed of resting, and unhurried in your presence. The world may demand much, but you ask only that I come, and here I am, resting in you. This stillness is not empty, it is full of you. This moment is not wasted, it is sacred, and I will carry it forward. So as this morning unfolds, I choose to carry this peace like a sacred flame. I will not let the world blow it out with noise or rush. I will guard it, nurture it, return to it, and let it shape the way I live, speak, love, and believe. It is not weak to be still, it is strong. It is not empty to be quiet, it is full. And in this fullness, I find you over and over again. Father, if peace is the stillness that calms my spirit, then joy is the light that dares to shine even in the shadows. From that sacred hush where your presence steadied my soul, I now reach for joy, not the fleeting emotion tied to perfect circumstances, but the deeper, quieter gladness that springs from knowing I belong to you. This morning, I do not pretend that all is well, but I choose to believe that even when it is not, joy is still possible. Even when my heart aches, when the weight of yesterday lingers like a mist in the early light, I open my soul to joy. Lord, I have been taught that joy is strength, not decoration, not luxury, not naive optimism, but strength rooted, immovable, rising not from what is happening around me, but from the unchanging truth of who you are. The world cannot grant this kind of joy, and so it cannot steal it either. It is not dependent on my performance, my mood, or the headlines I wake up to. It is a gift that grows in the soil of faith, watered by trust, sustained by love. God, I bring you the sorrow I still carry. I do not hide it. I do not deny it. I lay it bare before you, not to be shamed, but to be healed. Some days it feels like a fog that will not lift, but even here, even now, I reach for joy not as a denial of grief, but as a declaration of trust. I say, you are good. I say, you are near. I say, you are enough. And in the saying, in the surrender, something shifts. A flicker of gladness takes root. Joy does not erase pain. It transforms it. It does not silence questions. It steadies me while I wait. It does not demand an explanation. It anchors me in your promises, even when the path ahead is unclear. I have seen sorrow as face, but I have also seen joy rise in the ruins. I have watched it take root in broken places, like wildflowers pushing through cracked stone. It is resilient. It is holy. It is real. Father, help me be brave enough to choose joy today, not because everything is easy, but because I refuse to let despair have the final word. Teach me to laugh again, not with cynicism, but with softness. Teach me to notice beauty again, to welcome delight without suspicion. Let joy not be something I earn, but something I receive over and over, like daily bread. Let it fill my cup so I may pour into others with kindness that overflows. I do not need to feel joyful to choose it. I need only to believe that you are with me, and that this day holds gifts I have not yet seen. Even tears can coexist with joy. Even the deepest sigh can hold room for a smile. So I do not wait until I feel better. I choose joy now, in this exact moment, not in spite of sorrow, but alongside it. I carry both, and you carry me. God, let this joy soften my words and lift my spirit. Let it move through me like music I did not expect to hear, turning ordinary moments into sacred ones. Let it echo in how I respond to frustration, how I greet a stranger, how I care for myself. Let it rise in my silence and dance in my laughter. Let it surprise me, find me, fill me, and remind me again that nothing is wasted when it is surrendered to you. This is the joy that cannot be undone, not by bad news, not by loneliness, not even by the ache that still visits in the quiet hours. It is the joy of being known, of being loved, of being held by a God who does not change with my emotions, who rejoices over me even when I feel unworthy, who celebrates my return even when I come empty-handed. This is the joy that sustains. So I walk through this day differently, not because everything is perfect, because I know you are with me. I carry the sorrow with open hands, but I carry joy in my heart like a lamp lit in the dark. And wherever I go, I want that light to shine, not to pretend, but to proclaim, to say, He is here, He is faithful, and even now, joy is possible. There are days when joy feels far, like a star flickering behind thick clouds. But even then, Lord, I lift my eyes. I remember that joy is not absent, only hidden, waiting to break through when I least expect it. I choose to welcome it in the smallest things, in the quiet rhythm of breath, in the color of the sky, in the taste of warm tea, in the voice of a friend who stays. These are not small when my heart remembers how much they mean. These are sacred signs of life continuing, of your hand still guiding gently, lovingly, even through the gray. Let me be someone who carries joy not just for myself, but for those too tired to reach for it today. Let me be a light for them, not by pretending to be strong, but by simply being willing to smile, willing to hope, willing to believe again. Let joy be my protest against despair, my rebellion against hopelessness. Let it be my anthem, not because I have all the answers, but because I know the one who holds them. And if today brings both laughter and tears, let them flow side by side, not in conflict, but in harmony. For you are present in both, and I am learning that wholeness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of you, filling every part of my life with a grace that makes room for both sorrow and song. So I choose again. I choose joy. Lord, as I rise and sit in this quiet stillness, I carry the echoes of joy from yesterday's surrender. But I also feel the weight of guilt that clings so tightly to the edges of my soul. There are memories that visit me like shadows, whispering of all the ways I have fallen short. My heart knows I am loved. And yet, my mind often replays the failures like a song stuck on repeat. I bring this to you, not because I think you need reminding, because I cannot keep it all in anymore. I want to live in the freedom you speak of, but sometimes I still hold on to shame like it is my only identity. God, how many times I rehearsed the ways I have let you down. How often have I stood in front of the mirror, not to see myself, but to judge the reflection of someone I can barely forgive, even when others have moved on, even when you have spoken of mercy. I have held on to shame as if it were the only thing deserved. But you did not teach me to worship guilt. You did not call me to build a home in sorrow. You invited me into freedom. So why is it so hard to walk through the open door? I see now that guilt can be a prison where I am both inmate and jailer. But grace, your grace, is the key. It does not erase the past, it redeems it. It takes the ashes I tried to sweep away and turns them into soil for something holy to grow. I do not have to stay buried. I can rise. I can begin again. Not because I am flawless, but because you are faithful. This is not a second chance. It is an entirely new life. Help me to believe that I am not disqualified from joy just because I once wandered in sorrow. Remind me that guilt may visit, but it does not get to stay. It does not get to write my name. You already have. In love, in purpose, in eternity. Today, instead of apologizing for existing, I want to live fully. I want to let grace color my thinking, shape my decisions, soften my edges. Let it fill my conversations, calm my nerves, and carry me when I feel like collapsing under the weight of unspoken regret. I cannot go back, but I do not have to, because you go before me, and in you, I find the courage to go forward. There is something sacred in forgiving myself, something deeply holy in receiving what you so freely offer. Why is it that I fight the very gift that my soul needs most? I have cried for mercy, begged for healing, pleaded for peace, and when you placed it in my hands, I doubted it belonged to me. Lord, remove this habit of hesitating before grace. Remove the instinct to disqualify my own heart. You never asked me to earn it. You only asked me to trust. So I choose today to stand not in the rubble of old regret, but on the foundation of your promise. I choose to believe that I am not too broken to be used, that my story is not over, that this chapter, this very breath matters. You can do more with my surrender than I ever could with my striving. You are not surprised by my weakness. You are not disappointed by my questions. You are present, still, drawing near when I feel unworthy, lifting my head when I bow too long in self-condemnation. And maybe, Lord, grace is not a ladder I must climb. Maybe it is a river I must fall into. So here I am, releasing my grip on shame, letting the current take me. If I drown, let it be in your love. If I lose anything, let it be the voice that says, I am not enough. And if I rise again, let it be as someone new, washed clean, not by effort, but by mercy. I walk now, Lord, not with a limp of shame, but with the steady steps of someone who is learning to love the sound of freedom. I no longer look for chains where you have placed wings. I no longer measure myself by what I lack, but by the cross that said, I was worth redeeming. Each sunrise is a canvas for grace to paint new colors on the bruised places of my past. Each breath is a sacred rhythm that sings of undeserved kindness. I will no longer interrupt your mercy with my self-accusation. I will let grace speak louder than the shame ever could. Let grace be the melody that guides my heart when fear begins its old tune. Let it be the warmth I return to when the world feels cold and forgetful. Let it be the mirror I look into when all I can see are my flaws. You are not asking me to forget the past. You are teaching me how to carry it with honor, how to see even the scars as signs of healing. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing is too far gone. In your hands, all things become beautiful in time. So I place my guilt there, and I choose to walk away from it. Each step I take, may it echo with grace. Each word I speak, may it drip with compassion. Let me remember, when guilt knocks, that grace already opened the door. I do not walk alone. I walk with the one who calls me beloved. That is enough. Let this be the morning where guilt loses its voice and grace becomes the language I speak without shame, without fear, without hesitation. Lord, even when I cannot see the path clearly, even when the answers I long for remain hidden in silence, I choose to come to you in faith. I choose to bring my questions, my aching uncertainties, and my trembling heart into your presence. Not because I have seen the end of the road, but because I trust the one who walks beside me. The night was long, and even now as the dawn breaks slowly across the sky, not every shadow has lifted, yet here I am, whispering again into the quiet, believing you hear me. God, sometimes it feels like I am groping through fog, reaching for clarity that never seems to come. I want signs. I want confirmation. I want you to show up in fire and thunder. But more often, you come like a gentle whisper, like the hush of wind through trees, like the stillness just before light touches the edge of the world. And in that stillness, you ask me to trust you not because I see, but because I know you, because I have tasted your faithfulness, even when I did not understand your ways. Father, you are not absent just because you are silent. You are not far just because I cannot trace your hand. You are the God who moves beneath the surface, who works in secret places, who answers prayers in ways I never expected. I have looked for miracles in the spectacular, but you often deliver hope in the ordinary, in the steady rising of the sun, in the breath I still have, in the strength to take just one more step. So I come now, not with eyes that see, but with a heart that believes, not because everything makes sense, because your presence is greater than my confusion. I bring you this moment, this hesitation, this sacred in-between where I am no longer who I was, but not yet where I long to be. I lay it down before you as an offering of trust, an act of faith that does not need proof. Only you, Lord, when I feel forgotten, remind me that you never sleep. When I feel lost, remind me that you are the shepherd who leaves the 99 for the one. When fear whispers that I am alone, teach me to listen for your truth deeper than fear, stronger than doubt, more lasting than anything I feel. Your word is a lamp to my feet, even when it only lights the next step. I do not need the full map if I have your hand. I remember stories of those who walked with you, when all they had was a promise. Abraham stepping into the unknown, Moses lifting his staff toward a sea that had not yet parted, Mary believing the impossible with nothing but an angel's word. They moved forward without seeing, because they knew who had spoken, and so do I. You are the same God. You are still faithful. You are still near. Father, help me to believe when the evidence is lacking. Help me to hold on to your goodness when I do not feel it. Help me to walk forward, not in confidence in myself, but in the quiet assurance that you go before me, that you surround me, that nothing can separate me from your love, not height or depth, not sorrow or confusion, not today or tomorrow or the silence in between. Let this morning be a place where trust is built. Let my fears fall like dew with the fading night. Let my heart rise with the sun, not because the answers have come, but because you are enough. I do not need the path to be easy. I only need to know that you are with me on it. I do not ask for all the pieces to come together now. I only ask for the grace to trust while they are still scattered. God, you never promised I would see everything clearly, but you did promise that I would never walk alone. You said your grace would be sufficient. You said your power is made perfect in weakness. So I bring you my weakness. I bring you my fears. I bring you the longing to understand. And I lay it all at your feet, not demanding clarity, but asking for peace. Not begging for certainty, but surrendering into trust. And even now, as the sky begins to brighten and the world awakens slowly around me, I listen not for thunder, but for stillness, for the gentle way you meet me in the ordinary, the soft stirring of wind through trees, the hush of a new day being born. In all of it, I sense you near, not because of what I see, but because of what I trust. This, Lord, is enough. This invisible nearness, this sacred knowing without proof, this love that does not depend on sight. And as I breathe in this quiet moment, I realize that faith is not waiting for everything to make sense, but walking with you even when nothing does. Lord, as I rise once again into the quiet breath of morning, the weight within my chest feels undeniable. Though yesterday's prayers still linger like the faint scent of rain on dry soil, this dawn brings with it a heaviness I cannot easily name. It is not despair, not quite sorrow, but something dull, pressing, and slow, a quiet ache, a longing, a tiredness not of the body, but of the soul that cries silently beneath every breath I take. And so I come to you, with my heart open but burdened, not in defiance of this pain, but in the hope that you might meet me in it. Father, it seems that sometimes even faith can feel heavy, not because it is untrue, but because carrying hope in a broken world is a weight the heart was never meant to carry alone. You never asked us to be strong without you. You never told us to smile while silently drowning. You invited us to come to you weary and burdened, and I am both. In these quiet hours, I admit my weariness. I bring before you the faces I carry in my thoughts, the unfinished questions I cannot answer, the fears I cannot reason away, the grief that does not fade with time. Lord, it is too much for me, and yet you do not turn away. You never have. In my weakness, you draw closer. In my silence, you still listen. In my sadness, you do not rush to fix me, you sit with me in it. Like a father holding his child while the storm thunders beyond the window. I find comfort not in solutions, but in presence, in knowing that I do not weep alone, that I do not walk this weary path unseen. You are here, still and steady, the unshakable ground beneath my trembling feet. So I speak honestly to you now. I do not know how to carry everything I feel. I do not know if this season will lift, or if the H will be part of me for longer than I wish. But I know that you see me. I know that you love me not for what I pretend to be, but for who I am when the pretending falls away, when I have nothing left to give, when the smile fades and the mask slips. That is where you meet me. And that is why I return to you every morning, because I have tasted grace in my weakness, and grace is enough. God, I give you this weight, not because I understand it, but because I cannot carry it anymore. I lay it at your feet not with dramatic flair, but with the quiet hope that maybe today, just maybe, I will feel a little lighter knowing you are holding what I cannot. I trust you not just as the one who answers, but as the one who remains, who stays when others leave, who holds the fragments when they fall. Let me rest in that this morning. Though the tears may not cease, and the answers may not come quickly, may peace settle like morning dew over the fragile places in me. May your love meet me not at the finish line, but here in the middle, in the confusion, in the fatigue, in the uncertainty. Let your presence be my relief. Let your nearness be enough for now. This is how I begin this day. Father, not with strength, but with surrender. Not with clarity, but with trust. And that, I believe, is enough. Lord, as I draw nearer to the hush of your presence this morning, I continue to trace the gentle echoes of trust that began to rise within me, from the stillness where I last left my whispered longings. I come now with a spirit softened by surrender and shaped by silence. I realize now that not all things must be understood to be embraced, and not every answer must arrive to restore peace. There is a sacred mystery in how you work hidden, yet wholly present. And in this quiet moment, I do not come asking for signs or clarity, but simply to rest beneath the shadow of your grace. God, it is difficult sometimes to walk with you when my eyes cannot perceive the path ahead. I crave certainty. I reach for patterns, for logic, for outcomes that I can predict and control. Yet your grace arrives not as a formula, but like rain that falls where it pleases, watering places I did not even know were dry. And in that unpredictability, You reveal something far deeper than control. You reveal your heart. You remind me that grace is not earned, explained, or predicted. It is received. It is breathed. It is encountered. And so I breathe you in again today. Inhale mercy. Exhale fear. Inhale peace. Exhale resistance. With each breath, I loosen my grip on the need to understand and tighten my embrace around your presence. The cross was not logical. The resurrection was not explainable. Yet they are the truest things I know. And if you were faithful in death and victorious in life, then surely you remain faithful now. Even when I can trace the outlines of your plans. Lord, I have tried to make sense of my pain. I have tried to interpret my delays, my detours, and my disappointments. But maybe understanding is not the path to freedom. Maybe grace is. Maybe it is in the unknowing that I find the space to be held without conditions, to be loved without qualifications, to be chosen without merit. That kind of love breaks the laws of this world, and yet it heals every broken part of mine. So here I sit, without a map, without a timeline, without explanations. But I do not sit alone. I am seated in grace, wrapped in your compassion, tethered to hope by the invisible thread of your spirit. What the world calls foolish, this faith, this prayer, this praise without reason, I now call holy, because it has kept me alive. It has kept me soft. It has made me real. Father, I want to pretend to understand how you redeem what has been lost, but I have seen you do it. I have witnessed the way you take shattered things and make them shine. I have watched you write new stories in the ashes of the old. And while I wait for you to do the same in my life, I will hold the pen of belief in my trembling hand, ready to trace every word you write with reverence. Today, I let go of needing to make sense of it all. I give up the exhausting effort of trying to earn what you have already freely given. I stop performing for your love and begin simply receiving it. I lean into the freedom of grace, the scandal of it, the extravagance of it, and I let it change me from the inside out. Let your grace be the water that reaches the deepest roots of who I am. Let it saturate the hardened places, soften the bitter corners, and wash away the shame I have worn like a second skin. Let it teach me to love myself the way you do, with compassion, patience, and gentleness. Let it unearth the beauty I have buried beneath disappointment and breathe new life into the dreams I thought had died. I do not need a reason to be loved. I do not need to qualify for your presence. I only need to show up open, honest, willing. That is the mystery. That is the miracle. That you would choose to dwell with someone like me, not in my perfection, but in my process. Not at the finish line, but in the messy middle. You are the God who sits with me on the floor of my questions and sings hope into the corners of my despair. So if this morning only gives me one thing, let it be this: a deeper awareness of your grace. Let me taste it in the quiet moments. Feel it in my breathing. Hear it in the laughter of a friend, and sense it in the unexpected kindness of a stranger. Let grace be the thread that weaves through this entire day, pulling me gently back to you again. Lord, when I try to grasp what grace truly means, it escapes the confines of my mind and settles instead into my spirit. It teaches me not to strive, but to rest, not to chase, but to receive, not to explain, but to experience. And that experience becomes a song in my soul, soft, unhurried, sacred, a melody that reminds me that I am already enough, already loved, already held. As the light grows stronger outside my window, I sense your presence becoming clearer within me, not because you were absent before, but because grace has opened my eyes to see what was always there. You are the morning light in the shadows of my thoughts. You are the stillness beneath my anxieties. You are the whisper that says, "Even here, I am with you," and that whisper becomes my anchor, my compass, my comfort. No longer do I wait for everything to make sense before I trust. No longer do I demand understanding before I praise. I trust because you are trustworthy. I praise because you are good. I rest because you are present. And in that rest, I rise not with all the answers, but with a steady heart, a peaceful mind, and a soul wrapped in the mystery of your love. Let this day be shaped not by fear, but by grace, not by performance, but by presence, not by striving, but by surrender. I walk forward with open hands, not needing to control, but ready to receive. And whatever comes, whether clarity or more questions, I know you are here in it. That is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything. Father, as I remain anchored in the quiet stillness of this sacred morning, I feel the threads of yesterday's grace continuing to wrap around my spirit like a gentle covering. The peace you planted in my chest has not withered overnight. It lingers, steady and strong, like a candle that refuses to go out in the wind. And in that glow, I begin this new day, not with urgency or fear, but with the calm assurance that your presence walks beside me, even into places I cannot see. Lord, the path ahead of me is uncertain, not because you have withheld direction, but because you invite me to trust without a roadmap. You are more interested in who I become than how quickly I arrive. And while my nature still aches for clarity, my spirit is slowly learning the sacred rhythm of surrender. I am learning to step even when I cannot see the whole staircase. I am learning to breathe even when the fog clouds the road. I am learning to rest not in what I understand, but in who I know. You are not a distant God who shouts commands from a faraway throne. You are Emmanuel, God with us, God with me, not just in the victories, but in the questions, not only in the resolutions, but in the wrestling. And because of that, I do not need to fear the unknown. I need only to remember that you are already in it, working behind the curtain of what I cannot yet comprehend. Father, I have often tried to manufacture peace through control. I have built mental plans, backup plans, and contingency maps, all in hopes of securing the illusion of safety. But real peace, true peace, does not come from knowing how things will turn out. It comes from knowing that even if they do not turn out the way I expect, I will not be abandoned. That knowledge settles deeper than logic. It becomes the very soil in which hope grows, wild and uncontainable. Let that peace take root in me today. Let it shape how I move, how I speak, how I carry myself through the hours to come. Let it be my default posture, even when everything around me demands reaction, panic, or defensiveness. Let your peace be stronger than my instincts and deeper than my fears. Let it silence the anxious noise that tries to rise within me and replace it with a stillness that feels like home. God, I want to walk through this day unhurried. I want to speak slowly, listen fully, and love deeply, not because circumstances are perfect, but because peace has taken its rightful place in my soul. I want to pause long enough to see the beauty that dances in between tasks, to notice the sunlight filtering through the trees, to feel the rhythm of my own breath, to hear the laughter of others and let it sink in. These are the signs that you are near. These are the quiet confirmations that I am not alone. As I go about my responsibilities, help me not to treat them as burdens, but as invitations, each task an opportunity to bring light, to carry peace, to reflect your character in a world starved for compassion. Let my words today be gentle but strong. Let my decisions be rooted in wisdom, not impulse. Let my presence be a calming one to others, not because I have it all figured out, but because I carry the one who holds all things together. Lord, when fear tries to sneak in through a sudden email, an unexpected conversation, a reminder of things not yet resolved, remind me that I have a choice. I can react or I can return to peace. I can spiral or I can surrender. I can panic or I can pray. Let peace be the hand I reach for first. Let it become not just a refuge, but a rhythm, a way of being, a daily habit that forms the foundation of how I show up in the world. Teach me to be patient with what is still unfolding. Teach me that peace does not require passivity, but presence. It does not ignore pain, but it transforms it. It does not numb me to what is real, but it helps me hold it with grace. And in holding it, I find that peace is not fragile. It is resilient. It weathers storms not because it is untouched by them, but because it is grounded in something unshakable: your word, your love, your faithfulness. I release today the need to force outcomes. I release the urge to rush through discomfort just to reach a resolution. I release the pressure to be perfect, to impress, to prove myself. All of these are enemies to peace, robbing me of the ability to be fully present in this moment. And this moment, right now, is all I truly have. And in this moment, you are here. And that is enough. Let my peace today be contagious. Let it soften sharp words before they are spoken. Let it de-escalate tension before it spreads. Let it serve as a quiet testimony to those around me that there is another way to live, a way that is anchored not in circumstances, but in conviction, a way that is built not on fear, but on faith, a way that invites others to breathe deeper, walk slower, and remember they are deeply loved. Lord, I ask for nothing more than this today, that you would fill every corner of my being with the kind of peace that confuses worry, that silences fear, and that makes room for joy. I want to walk through this day aware of that peace, not as a distant idea, but as a constant presence. Let it follow me like a shadow, Let it greet me at every turn. Let it be the language I speak without even trying. This world moves fast and pulls hard, but you are steady. You are gentle. You are peace itself. And where you are, I can breathe. I can rest. I can hope. Even in uncertainty. Even in unanswered questions. Even in the in-between. I walk into this day not perfectly composed, but profoundly loved. And that is what makes the difference. That is what steadies my steps. That is what carries me forward, not into chaos, but into peace. Father, as I continue into the quiet space you have carved out for this morning, I feel a deeper kind of stillness taking root inside me. It is not the absence of sound or movement, but the quiet confidence that rises when I finally stop striving and allow myself to be held by something greater than all my fears. Yesterday's peace has not faded but deepened, becoming a reservoir I can draw from, not just in moments of solitude, but in the noise that waits for me just beyond these walls. Lord, you have shown me that peace is not passive, and now you are teaching me that stillness is not weakness. The world trains me to hustle, to achieve, to measure myself by motion. But you whisper something altogether different, that strength is often born in silence, that clarity grows in pause, and that the most powerful thing I can do sometimes is to simply be still and know you are God. So I pause again this morning, not because I have nothing to do, but because I choose to begin not in rush, but in rest. I inhale, not just air, but awareness. I exhale, not just breath, but the burdens I am not meant to carry. And in this exchange, something holy unfolds, an unseen transaction between my soul and your spirit. A divine moment where heaviness gives way to hope. God, I know that stillness invites discomfort. It reveals the parts of me I usually drown in noise. It holds up a mirror to the unrest I try to suppress. But in that mirror, I also see how desperately I need you. I see how quickly I fill my schedule so I do not have to feel. I see how often I mistake exhaustion for meaning. But you call me higher to a place where my value is not measured by my productivity, but by your love. And in that truth, I find the courage to stop, to breathe, to be. Let this stillness travel with me into every moment today. Let it shape how I interact, how I decide, how I respond. Let it become the sacred filter through which I interpret both joy and challenge. Let it slow my reactions and deepen my understanding. Let it prevent me from rushing into conclusions or hurrying through conversations. Let it anchor me when emotions rise like waves, threatening to sweep me into places I do not belong. You are the stillness in the storm, the hush in the chaos, the calm in the center of every whirlwind. Remind me that I do not need the storm to stop in order to be still. I only need to remember that you are in the boat with me, unshaken, unbothered, completely in control. That picture alone steadies my soul. That truth alone silences the panic that sometimes wakes with me before the sun. Father, teach me to trust the sacred pace you have set for my life. I do not want to run ahead of you or lag behind you. I want to walk in step with you, to listen for the subtle rhythm of your guidance. You are not rushed. You are not late. You are not overwhelmed by all that concerns me. And if I follow you closely, I won't be either. Let me mirror your calm, adopt your cadence, reflect your peace. Even in the middle of work, traffic, meetings, deadlines remind me to return to stillness, not a long withdrawal, but a brief return, like a deep breath between words, like a glance at the sky before I move forward. These moments may seem small, but they are holy. They are altars in the everyday. They remind me that I am not my schedule, not my inbox, not the opinions of others. I am yours, and I am safe in your presence. God, help me protect this stillness. Even when others do not understand, the world may call it laziness or detachment. But I know better. I know that it takes more strength to be still than to stay busy. It takes more faith to wait than to rush. And when I build my life on that kind of strength, nothing can shake me, not because I am unshakable, but because you are, and I am leaning wholly on you. Let this stillness soften me today, not make me fragile, but make me tender. Let it quiet my inner critic. Let it hush the pressure to perform. Let it silence the echo of comparison. And in its place, let there rise a gentle confidence, a grounded assurance that I am walking not in my own ability, but in the covering of your presence. Remind me that even in seasons of waiting, you are working. Even in the silence, you are speaking. Even in the stillness, you are moving. I may not always see it, but that does not make it any less true. You are not limited by my timeline or my expectations. You are painting something bigger than I can grasp. And sometimes the stillness is simply the space where you prepare me to receive it. Lord, thank you for giving me permission to rest not just physically, but spiritually. Thank you for inviting me to sit down, to lay it all down, and to simply be with you. That kind of rest is rare in this world, but it is my inheritance as your child. Let me not waste it. Let me not resist it. Let me embrace it, knowing that in stillness, I am not doing less, I am receiving more. I want to be a person of peace, not just in how I speak, but in how I live. I want the stillness within me to be louder than the chaos around me. I want to carry an atmosphere of calm into every room, not because I am unaffected, but because I am deeply rooted. And in that rooting, I become a shelter for others, a quiet presence in a loud world, a living testimony to your unshakable peace. So as I step into this day, I do not rush, I do not panic, I do not try to conquer or control. I simply move in step with the stillness you have placed in me, a stillness that breathes before speaking, a stillness that listens before judging, a stillness that sees beauty even in the mundane, a stillness that trusts you even when the path is unclear. And with each step, I return again and again to that quiet place where I began, where the morning air still feels like a promise, where silence is not empty but full, where I remember that you are here, always here, always enough, always steady, God, even as the stillness from before continues to echo in my soul. I find myself leaning further into the delicate, almost invisible thread of trust you weave into each moment, the kind of trust that does not require sight, explanation, or immediate reward, the kind that grows quietly, slowly, like roots beneath the surface, drawing life from a source that cannot be seen but can always be felt. You are that source, and this morning, as I rise again, I choose to trust you more deeply than I did yesterday. Father, it is not always easy to trust what I cannot see. My heart wants certainty. My mind craves answers. But you ask for something more sacred. You ask for surrender. Not the kind that gives up in despair, but the kind that gives into love, believing that even in the fog, you are guiding me. Even in the silence, you are speaking. Even in delay, you are working out a greater purpose than I could ever design for myself. So I offer you this day with open hands. I won't try to script every moment or anticipate every outcome. I won't build walls around my heart to protect myself from what might go wrong. Instead, I will live with an open spirit, knowing that no matter what comes, you are already there ahead of me, preparing, arranging, redeeming. That knowledge settles me. It unknots the worry from my chest and replaces it with peace, not born of understanding, but of presence. Lord, I do not ask for signs as proof today. I ask for sensitivity to feel the nudge of your spirit, to recognize the quiet confirmations along my path. A song at the right time, a phrase that strikes my heart, a silence that speaks louder than words. These are the sacred whispers of trust, and I want to be attuned to them. Let me be aware, not of how much I can control, but of how you are orchestrating things far beyond what I could ever imagine. Sometimes, my trust wavers when what I prayed for does not happen the way I expected. But you remind me that your no is never rejection, only redirection. That unanswered prayers are often answered in ways I won't recognize until later. That delays are not denials, but invitations to wait with you, not just for you. So even when the doors remain closed and the path stays hidden, I choose to believe you are not punishing me, you are protecting me, preparing me, positioning me. There is a kind of courage in trust that does not look like bold action. Sometimes, it looks like still standing when the ground feels shaky. Sometimes, it looks like choosing kindness when bitterness seems easier. Sometimes, it means staying quiet when I would rather prove a point, or forgiving when I have every reason not to. These are the silent victories of trust, the unseen battles that you notice, even if no one else does, and I offer each one to you today. As worship, God, I invite you into the uncertain places, into the areas I keep hidden, even from myself, the dreams I have buried because they hurt too much to hope for, the fears I try to ignore because I do not know what to do with them, the questions I still carry, even after all this time. Step into those places with your light, not to answer everything, but to reassure me that I am not alone in them, that you are present, even in the shadows, working gently and patiently. Let this trust not be a momentary decision, but a posture I hold throughout the day. When I encounter inconvenience, let me trust you are using it to build patience. When I face opposition, let me trust you are strengthening my resilience. When I experience delay, let me trust you are refining my desires. And when I feel forgotten, Let me trust that your eye is still on me, your hand still guiding me, your heart still loving me in ways I cannot comprehend. Sometimes, trust looks like joy in the ordinary, smiling at a stranger, laughing in traffic, cooking with care, working with integrity even when no one is watching. These moments may seem small, but they are sacred when done in trust. They say, I believe this matters. I believe God sees me. I believe He is in this. Let every act I do today become an offering of trust, a living prayer that invites your presence into the mundane and makes it holy. Lord, I do not just want to trust you with outcomes. I want to trust you with the process, with the detours, the slow progress, the messy middle. Life does not always unfold the way I envision it. Perhaps that is the mercy of your wisdom. You know what I need before I do. You see the dangers I can't see. You are not obligated to give me what I ask for, but you always give me what is best. And I am learning, slowly but surely, to believe that is enough. Help me release the pressure to figure everything out. Let me live today with questions that do not demand quick answers. Let me carry uncertainty with grace. Let me walk forward even when I do not feel brave, trusting that you walk with me and will carry me if my legs grow weak. You are not asking me to be strong enough, smart enough, or spiritual enough. You are asking me to simply believe that you are enough. And I do, not just in theory, not just in church, not just when everything feels good. I believe it here, now, in this quiet hour, as I prepare to step into the unknown of another day. I believe it when I open my eyes to possibility, and when I close them in exhaustion. I believe it when the sun shines bright, and when the storm clouds gather. I believe you are enough for every season, every trial, every joy, every silence. God, as I move into this day, let my steps be light because my burdens are no longer mine alone. Let my heart be soft because it no longer fears being broken. Let my hands be open because they no longer cling to control. Let my mind be quiet because it no longer needs to solve what only you can. Let my spirit be free because trust has untied the knots I once thought necessary for survival. And when I forget, and I will bring me back to this moment. This sacred remembering, this quiet agreement between my soul and yours, that I will trust you, not just in the miracles, but in the mundane, not just in the victories, but in the waiting, not just in the revelation, but in the mystery. I will trust you, not because I always understand, but because I know you are always good. Dear Heavenly Father, as this quiet journey of morning reflection nears its final step, I feel the deep echo of every word that has led me here. This moment does not feel like an ending, but like the gentle beginning of something new. It is not a door closing, but a window opening to your fresh mercies, waiting just beyond the horizon. I am not the same person I was when I first whispered your name in the stillness. With each breath, each pause, each silent space filled with longing and love, you have met me, reshaped me, and whispered peace into the places that once trembled. Lord, I look back over these quiet chapters of my heart, and I see how you have walked beside me even when I doubted, how you lifted me when I did not have the strength to ask, how you held me when I did not even know I was breaking. Every morning I showed up with a weary heart. You greeted me with stillness and covered me in grace. Every fear I unfolded, you met with calm assurance. You never turned away. You never grew tired of my repetition, my silence, my questions. You welcomed every word, every tear, every hope, and turned them into prayers I did not know how to speak. God, as this morning prayer breathes its final breath, I do not want to say goodbye to this sacred space. I want to carry it with me into every conversation, every decision, every breath I take today. Let it live not only in these quiet moments, but in the way I speak to others, the way I listen, the way I pause before I react. Let it move in my steps as I walk into unknown places. Let it echo in my heart when I face something I do not yet understand. Let this prayer continue, not in words, but in the way I live. You have reminded me, gently and patiently, that I do not need all the answers. I only need awareness. I do not need certainty. I need closeness. I do not need everything to go right. I need to walk rightly with kindness, with grace, with a spirit surrendered. You have taught me that prayer is not a performance. It is presence. It is permission to be human and sacred all at once, to feel joy and sorrow in the same breath, to be held by something greater than understanding, to be rooted, not in outcomes, but in intimacy with you. Today, I won't chase perfection. I will pursue connection. I won't wait to feel brave. I will walk forward with trembling hands if I must. I will let love lead even when fear wants to take the wheel. I will trust that small acts of goodness matter. Even if they are unseen, I will believe that kindness is never wasted, that silence can be holy, that listening is a form of prayer, that joy can bloom in the middle of brokenness, that peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of trust. You have placed all of this within me, and I am grateful beyond measure. Lord, if someone hears this prayer in a moment of need, may they feel less alone. If someone listens through tears, may they know you are near. If someone finds themselves on the edge of giving up, may this voice become a hand reaching out in the dark. If someone cannot find the words, let these be enough for now. May every word spoken here become a whisper of hope in someone else's valley, a flicker of warmth in someone else's cold night, a reminder that even in silence, they are heard. Thank you for every listener who has walked this path all the way to this moment, for their heart, their hunger for more of you, their willingness to sit in stillness when the world is loud. Thank you for the strength they may not even see in themselves. Thank you for their quiet courage, their persistent hope, their gentle faith that shows up even when it feels unseen. I pray they feel how deeply loved they are, not because they performed or perfected, but simply because they are yours. Let this be more than a prayer. Let it become a rhythm, a returning, a daily breath that brings them back to you. Let it not be locked into morning hours only, but spill into afternoons of pressure, evenings of weariness, and nights of reflection. Let it awaken something deeper than discipline. Let it invite joy, awe, and the sacred wonder of knowing that you walk beside us, not just in churches or scriptures, but in the ordinary, unscripted rhythms of daily life. God, I ask for one more thing as I step into the unfolding hours ahead. Let me notice the beauty I usually overlook, the way sunlight dances on the wall, the quiet rustle of leaves in the wind, the sound of laughter echoing from another room, the taste of warm coffee, the feel of my breath slowing as I remember I am not alone. Let me see these things as signs not of coincidence, but of care, not of accident, but of artistry. Let these little glimmers pull me back to you again and again. I release every pressure I woke up with, every heavy thought I did not know where to place, every unresolved burden I thought I had to carry alone. I place them gently at your feet, not as a form of surrender, but as an act of love. I will no longer carry what you never asked me to. I will no longer prove my worth. I will simply receive what you already offer. Peace without performance, love without condition, belonging without requirement. And in that receiving, I am made whole again. There is no need for dramatic conclusions, no need to close this with finality, because you are not finished. You never are. You are in the continuation. You are in the pauses. You are in the quiet moments between prayers, where real transformation happens. I step forward with faith, not because I feel full, because I know you are enough for what I cannot yet see. And that is the beauty of a life led by trust. If this prayer has touched even one heart, it has done its work. If it has helped someone breathe easier, sleep deeper, love better, or trust again, then may that be the seed of something lasting. Let every person who listens know that they are not forgotten. They are not invisible. Their story still matters. Their healing is still possible. Their morning is still coming. And they are deeply known, just as they are. Right now, to every soul who walked through this sacred journey of 24 chapters, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time, your emotions, and your morning silence. Thank you for allowing these words to sit beside your heart as you opened it wider to the divine. Thank you for choosing to begin your day in this gentle way, choosing presence over hurry, reverence over routine. You are not alone. Not now. Not ever. If these prayers have stirred something inside you, I invite you to share your thoughts, your own prayers, your reflections in the comments below. Let your voice be part of this circle of sacred connection. Let your story become part of this living echo of faith. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs peace today. And keep returning each day not to repeat words, but to renew your soul. Let this practice become your anchor, your reminder, your beginning each and every day. And now, without needing to close this, I invite you to sit for one more breath. Feel the air gently entering your lungs. Listen to the hush of the world before it begins to stir. Watch the golden light begin to stretch across the floor. Let the morning wrap you in stillness. Let it whisper that you are loved. Let it remind you that today is a gift, and you are ready to live it carried by grace, held in light, and awaken by the first quiet shimmer of the dawn.